Levels look good. Hey, folks in the Discord, make some noise. I'm going to check levels.
Howdy.
Testing, 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 testing.
Yeah.
Alert, alert, alert.
Rad. We have audio.
Hooray.
All right, and audio's green and slightly red. Someone in chat has said alerted, so the alert has gone through. Fantastic.
I did it.
The alert was appreciated. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another tabletop stream session. Tonight we are kicking off a 1 month long weekly one-shot of Lancer, the tabletop mech RPG. I've been very excited to do this, and I am. Let's go down the list and do introductions and pronouns for everybody here. I'm joined tonight by Baloney Shinobi.
Yo, it's me, Baloney Shinobi. He, him.
I'm joined tonight by Dane.
Hello, I am also he, him. Nice to meet everybody.
RDY.
Hello, he, him as well.
And T-Jabs.
Howdy, also he, him.
And I am your host, as always, Heretic Soul. I am he, him, and yeah. Welcome to Lancer. I suppose there's not really much more to say. Without further ado, let's get started, everyone. So, for everyone in the group, and I guess everyone watching, here's a quick rundown of what exactly Lancer is. Lancer is a tabletop role-playing game set in the year 5016U. That is 5,016 years since the founding of a planet-wide government called Union, marking year zero of a new era for humanity. 5,000 years later, humanity has spread out among the stars, and most but not all of humanity, I believe, is under the governance of Union. Union is working towards a utopian project in trying to create a society in which no one will be denied a roof over their head, food in their bellies, and the warmth of a sun upon their face. It is a state that prefers to govern with a light hand. They prefer to rule from a distance. They are a state recovering from a colonialist and imperialist past. Union is mostly linked up across the galaxy by the Blink Gate network, a series of gates that allow for near instantaneous travel across long distances. The worlds near these Blink Gates are the core worlds of Union, and the utopian dream is alive on these worlds. No one wants for anything. These are post-scarcity societies. However, out in the periphery, farther from the core, where travel is done by ships that slowly accelerate to speeds near those of the speed of light, the dream is slower to arrive. There is still conflict in the galaxy. Union is still beholden to the resources and processes of corporo states. And so wars are still fought, conflicts still burn in parts of the galaxy. And in the midst of all this are the mechanized cavalry, soldiers who pilot large mechanical frames into battle. They are themselves considered a cut above your average rank-and-file soldier, and among those are pilots who bear a title that has no official rank or designation associated with it. Rather, it is a title for those who stand out from the rest, are a cut above all others, and that title is Lancer. And that is where you come in tonight. Tonight we're going to be building a group of mech. We're going to be building mech pilots and mechs for this crew for our month-long one-shot. Hold on, let me adjust some volumes here. I was told on the stream that Baloney, you're a bit quiet. I will turn you up in Discord. Don't worry about it.
Oh, woohoo! I was muted.
Well, welcome back.
That'll make you extra quiet.
Yeah. Hey, Baloney, say something.
Walla 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 walla.
Okay, I'm getting good levels from you, so
Great.
sick. All right. So that's kind of the broad overview. In case you were wondering how hard sci-fi is this, the devs have specifically said it's basically hard sci-fi until hard sci-fi stops being fun. There is also, if you want to play a pilot who just runs around in a mech with a giant spear and acts like a big old beat stick, that's great. If you want to get involved in the setting's weird space magic bullshit, you can also do that. Stoked for the quadruple Barbarossa party. That one day that will happen, and it'll be a fucking nightmare. That's the all Reinhardt team composition from Overwatch.
Oh, how fun!
Okay.
No one dies, but nothing gets done.
Exactly. It's great.
Classic Reinhardt.
Overextension, the video game.
Yeah. Right. So where are we starting here?
Well, I guess have you all had a chance to kind of look through the book, either at the rules or kind of the setting?
Yeah. I have.
Yeah.
Cool.
I looked through some of the book, but I didn't really look at mech stuff. I looked at pilot stuff, and I read some of what the setting is.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's me also.
So what you got was kind of the high level overview of the setting there. Other minor details are like, yeah, most of the galaxy is under the governance of Union. Lancer is set like 10 to 20,000 years post-fall. There was at one point a massive ecological collapse that nearly ended the human race. As kind of a last bid for survival, humanity sent out a bunch of generation ships to settle on distant planets. And the descendants of the people on those ships, the ones that made it to their destination, are the other kind of major factions that you see that are at play in Lancer. The two big ones being the Karakan trade baronies, who are kind of a post-feudal society that are a client state of Union, and the On Ascendancy, who are a theocratic society in the middle of a civil war, and also with one faction in that civil war effectively carrying out a crusade against Union worlds. You have smaller factions. You have the strange transhuman Voladores. You have the Society of Warrior People, the Spari, who have a semi-technical, techno-mystical outlook on the world, and basically they believe in living a life worthy of stories. So a lot of them work as mercenaries across the galaxy. In the middle of all this, you also have the aforementioned weird space bullshit, which is where blink travel came from in the setting. That is, so about a couple 1,000, 2,000 years ago, while kind of rediscovering old humanity's space stations and facilities across the solar system, human explorers came across a facility on Mars with a series of supercomputers inside it that they have not been able to reverse engineer, called the Five Voices. This is like the toppest of top secret stuff. They appear to be able to forecast the galaxy They appear to be able to perform near perfect future forecasting. There's also a little caveat in the book that every game of Lancer you play is canon, because every game of Lancer is just a different forecast file somewhere in the Union Intelligence Bureau that these computers spit out. Anyways, one day, no one is entirely sure where it came from, but the theory is that one of the Five Voices predicted the existence of a being that Union classifies as Monist 1, but that is more broadly known as Ra, thus necessitating its existence in all other timelines and manifesting it into reality on the moon of Deimos. Shortly thereafter, the moon of Deimos teleported away and appeared around the galaxy in several places, very briefly, before returning to the solar system. Upon returning to the solar system, Ra met with human diplomats and signed what are known as the First Contact Accords, which basically led to two things. One, the First Contact Accords, which say, no, do not try to figure out what I am, do not try to make another one of me, and also do not perform any research into things like consciousness transfer, or, if you're familiar with Altered Carbon or Eclipse Phase, stuff like resleeving. Two, it also led to Ra left behind a bunch of machines that worked on Deimos, which were studied and classified as the first of things called non-human persons, or NHPs. NHPs are kind of, in practice, they appear in the setting much like super advanced AIs. In reality, they're like math djinns, DJINNS, contained in metafold space, with their own human-like personalities. If you want to get into weird artificial intelligence quandaries, they're the way to go. This is all to say there's an entire field in this setting called paracausal studies, which is like, hey, what if you could use math and electronic warfare as a weapon? So that's a lot of me talking. That's a lot about the setting.
That's
I guess
a cool setting.
I know.
It's-
I'm just kind of in awe. Like,
it's pretty dope. So I guess let's just get started with going through player generation. So I did want to say, I know we had talked about how we're going to do character sheets. I did link to in the Discord CompCon, which is a free web app that basically serves as a Lancer character sheet and compendium. It's really good. I like using that a lot. However, the one advantage that Roll20 does have, if we decide to do it that way, is that in Roll20, if you make up your character sheet, you do have to do a lot of like manual input yourself. But then if you want to say fire a mech weapon, you can just click on the weapon and it'll do that dice roll for you, which is pretty nice.
yeah.
So I guess let's start this way. Has everyone had a look at CompCon?
Yes.
I have, yeah.
Just a little bit. Not. a
I've
huge
made a
amount.
character in it.
Oh, nice.
Just mess around with it,
Oh.
so
Okay.
I don't know if I'll use the character or not, but we'll see.
That's fair. So I guess my recommendation would be let's start with character creation in CompCon. I was actually going to offer, if we do character creation in CompCon, I'll just duplicate everyone's characters in Roll20 so we can use that if you like. But
Okay.
I like CompCon just because it does a lot of the lifting for you in terms of like, all right, what are you supposed to do now? So let's say we just walk through character creation in CompCon.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. If you're watching the stream, say hello to my pilot very briefly. I'll kind of walk through this with you. So I guess let's just start talking. Let's start bullshitting. Does anyone have like a concept for a pilot?
I kinda
Already?
do.
Yeah, somewhat.
All right, who goes
I
first?
have one, but I'm not sure how appropriate it is for the setting. It might be more appropriate for a less technologically advanced setting, but maybe we can alter it.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll go first as my idea.
Sure.
So when I was reading through the book, it offered some like example backstories of what a Lancer may have done to become a Lancer or something. And for whatever reason, my mind went to the idea of a criminal, someone that's been poor their whole life, like barely scraped by, that was, as far as they know, semi-randomly chosen to have basically experiments done on them, like bodily enhancements or something, that they don't really know the full extent of themselves. And as part of that exchange of getting out of the poverty or the criminal punishment or whatever, they are also becoming a Lancer to help this unknown research group. How's that sound conceptually?
That sounds pretty cool.
Okay.
I think
As
one
another
thing.
player, that sounds sick.
Yeah. I was gonna say the same thing. It's something dope.
Yeah, like one thing that is kind of put forward in Lancer is it does kind of play a little bit in the like Warhammer 40k space of like, yeah, the human inhabited worlds across the galaxy aren't uniform. They are very much like agrarian societies that have largely eschewed industrial technology, and then you have like your, mega city, planet spanning city worlds. Everything running the gamut from one to the other. So yeah, that does sound pretty dope.
Okay, so I guess we'll just dial in the like flavor of the experimental stuff then. I did see that there was like cloning. If you don't want your character to die, maybe my character's already a clone. I don't know. The specifics are not as important as the concept, but I'm glad it's a cool concept everyone likes. All right, so I'll stick with that.
Cool. And actually, I just thought of something. I was going to save this until after. I was going to do this after character creation, but I guess now is probably a good time as I need to do this. And that's just real quick safety discussion. So first off, in this game, if you are not familiar with it already, we will use something called the X card, which is just if at any time you don't like the direction a scene is going or the campaign is going, if something is just happening in a scene that's making you really uncomfortable, you may play the X card by either typing it in chat, saying it out loud, sending me a DM, and we will just back out of the scene from there. The second is I would like to, and I know a couple of you asked about this, quickly do lines and veils. For those unfamiliar,
Is this something we should do on stream?
So I will say this. I would like to do lines and veils now. You'll notice there is a lines and veils channel in the Discord. I think I will say like my lines and veils out loud. If you are uncomfortable saying them out loud, you can just type them into the channel instead. I will not read them. That channel will not be broadcast.
Okay.
But basically lines and veils are just, if you want to call something a line that is saying, hey, I don't want this in the campaign at all. I would prefer we not go there. And I, the GM, and I hope you, the players, would respect that. A veil is saying, hey, I am okay with this happening, but I prefer we not like let the camera linger on it. I prefer we just kind of acknowledge that it happens and not get into the details with it. So for example, my primary line that I say for everything is like, I would rather not have any violence of a gendered, sexualized, or racial nature. So I'll put that in there. And also I trust everybody in this channel, but I also think it's just good to say out loud. I would prefer, even in a fictional context, I'm not going to have any characters that say, like, racialized or gendered slurs, and I think that'd just be a good thing to avoid.
Ditto.
Yep,
Agreed.
Hard agreed.
Does anyone else have anything they'd like to say? And again, they'd like to add, you can either, like, say it, or again, if you would prefer it remain private, you can just type it into the channel.
I have nothing that I can think of off the top of my head for me, but I also assume, and I just want to make sure this is clarified explicitly, that things can be added later.
Yes.
Okay.
This is fluid. We will never be like, oh, it's too late to add that in.
Yeah, I figured that was the case given everything else that was happening with this, but I just wanted that to be confirmed one way or the other. But yeah, I don't have anything to add personally.
I think this is another one of those things that goes without saying, but anything with the kiddies, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
stay, just keep
With
them out
what?
there. The
The
kids.
kids.
Like,
Oh, children? Okay.
yeah, children, just like keeping that, if it's like we want to do some sort of like maybe as a use for like, oh, this is why you should hate this guy. Sure, it's more of a veil, but like if it's like like real gross stuff, like let's just keep that out.
That's fine.
No,
That
that's
makes
good.
sense, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is not strictly a line or a veil, but I do like to say this out loud to a group. Is like, my promise to you is I will never put you in a gotcha situation of like, I'm never going to put you in a gotcha situation of like, oh well, are you either going to let this child die or save this plot important character or something like that? I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not big on air quotes moral quandaries.
Okay.
That sounds good.
So I will endeavor not to do that. I don't know. We may dip into the moral quandaries of like what are the material conditions that produce piracy, but that's about all I've got planned.
Okay. I do want to ask, because of my particular interest in things like horror and the kind of the background of my character, if you guys have any like gore or like bodily description type things that you don't like, add that in just so I can avoid that.
I would say because I was kind of thinking about that. Especially with character, I would say have that more of a veil. Because I never mind things like that, but when you get into like the descriptions of it, that's when I kind of get like,
yeah, like I don't plan on like getting obsessive with it, but I just want to
Yeah.
make sure if there is anything to not go too far.
yes,
Yep.
Ditto. I was
Cool.
super trying to like think of that, but yeah, that's like very eloquently my thoughts exactly.
Well, it just relates to the nature of my character, so it seemed
Yeah,
important
yeah.
to bring up.
Yeah,
good
no,
call.
I'm happy you did.
Quick note for the chat, Abbott, or Summarian, I will never put you in a situation. Summarian, you've played Lancer with me. You know that is not entirely true.
Oh
haven't.
no, he was right. He was.
I have in fact put you. I don't think I made anyone uncomfortable, but I have in fact put you in a situation. You know that's true.
Oh, okay.
That's for the main campaign, not for the mini campaign.
Look, I'm just saying one mech might have exploded.
Well, a mech's got to explode in a robot campaign.
It's true.
Dude,
At some point,
I read
a
the
mech will
player
explode.
actions. I saw what I can do.
Yeah, there is a percentage chance that mech will just be yours. Statistically speaking, someone's mech has got to explode eventually.
Exactly.
Got it.
All right. So, and again, this is ongoing. If you would like to add anything to this list at any point, feel free. I will not broadcast the lines of Vale's channel. So, and again, we're here to have fun. If at any point something is grossing you out or making you uncomfortable, or you're just like, I don't like where this is going, I would much rather back out of a scene and redo it than make anyone playing uncomfortable.
Yeah. Dope.
Understood.
Good.
Cool. So with that, apologies for the abrupt turn there, but would anyone else like to go
that's a
ahead?
good time.
It was
Yeah.
important, yeah.
Would anyone else?
I can go next if people are cool with that.
Sure.
So I was kind of thinking, and I don't know exactly what I do for the background because it could either be criminal or outlaw. I was thinking of making a smuggler, somebody who at one point in their life did a lot of smuggling between planets, maybe to the outer edges a lot of the time, and then had a certain point where like there was a line where he crossed, or like that was crossed with what he was smuggling. Maybe he was lied to or something. So then he like wanted to quit cold turkey on that, so he got into the LANCER program for a while. And then after he got through the program and was doing that, he kind of fell back into the habit a little bit of doing some more smuggling of materials throughout the galaxy or something like that.
Listen,
Okay.
sometimes stuff goes missing from the armory.
Yeah.
It happens.
It's not like he wants to do it, but yeah, that was kind of my idea that I've been kicking around in my head this week.
I like that.
Yeah, that's dope.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and pony up with my idea. So this was what I'm talking about whenever I said I had a very productive shower. So I was thinking about it, and so my character was like, sort of like this kind of young upstart, like really almost like a prodigy in this whole like mech piloting thing. And he sort of found this out early because he was a part of some sort of like pirate group. And then one day he was, or one time he goes on this mission to go steal some valuable something or other. He can't remember anymore. And he gets back and the whole crew's gone. And he thinks they're just pranking him. They just never come back. And so he's mighty upset. So he figured the best place to get information is through the military. So he joins this LANCER program with the intent to find out what happened to his crew.
Nice.
That's what I got. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good hook.
Yeah.
Sorry, I believe that leaves me.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have a
Heck yeah.
concept.
I do.
Awesome.
So I was thinking of someone along the lines of a combat medic, for whatever that entails, kind of in future war, who's like very much wants to like save the patient and stuff, and that in some battle that they were a part of and in saving somebody, just had kind of a realization in the middle of like something going very bad, that like if they were going to save like whatever pilot they were trying to treat, they would need a more permanent and immediate solution to triage, and got into a mech that was not theirs and piloted it. And it turns out that having a steady medic's hand and a medic's sense of staying cool are really, really valuable. And in conducting themselves well, have basically sort of laterally moved into being a mech pilot.
That's sick.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's almost related to my fallback that I was gonna do, which is like a mechanic that they kind of like panicked and was like, get in the mech since you know how to use them, like theoretically. So that's cool. I think that's also like a good complement to the rest of the characters that we have.
Yeah.
I think it's like a nice rounded out set of people.
That is a pretty cool. I think we got a pretty cool spread of pilot concepts here.
Sure, I'm just like super pumped.
Yeah. Well, so with that, let's just roll right into pilot creation. So, is everyone familiar enough with navigating CompCon to get to the new pilot screen? If you're not, that is okay.
New pilot registration.
Cool. Yeah, CompCon is really great. I got nothing against the person who made this. It's a wonderful tool. It's also, unfortunately, a piece of software. And anyone who has spent time with me before knows my feeling about computers, which is to say, complicated.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so first thing to do is just the basics. Your pilot's name, your call sign, and a background for them. Your background can be basically whatever you want. I'm double checking the rulebook on this, but I believe your background... So the kind of flow of action in Lancer is there are two different modes. There is narrative mode and there is combat mode. Narrative mode, narrative time, is pretty rules light in Lancer. You will choose for your pilot a background and things called skill triggers, which are basically just, these are things you are good at that you can kind of pull on when you are trying to do something in narrative time. Combat mode is, well, you can probably guess what that is. That's when we put tokens on a hex grid and shoot big guns at big robots. And that's when all the crunchy stuff happens. But so your background is something that you can call on to gain an advantage in a narrative scenario.
Okay. I think for mine, penal colonist seems to be the closest thing that would work. Maybe they weren't serving their sentence very long, if at all. Maybe they were like kind of intercepted right before they were serving their sentence, but that seems to be the closest thing for mine.
So I guess with this, it looks like we can just type in whatever we want. So we could, I guess, do we have to use the ones that they've provided us?
You do not. You can, if you click on the little circle, little globe icon next to it, you can select one of the pre-provided ones, or you can type in your own.
So it's cool if I just put smuggler there then?
Totally.
Cool.
Yeah, again, as Salmarian's saying in the chat, the backgrounds have no mechanical value unless, again, you think, like, for example, you want to say, like, well, having a background as a smuggler, I think talking to this dock worker foreman about, like, how we can get some supplies onto our ship, I think I might have a bit of an advantage there.
Ooh, cool.
Yes, it is strictly an RP thing. All right.
Yep.
Everyone got your name, call sign, background?
So
Yes.
I must say, what is a call sign?
Call sign is basically just a short handle that you use out in the field. So, for example, I'll use my own pilot that I have in a Lancer game. My pilot's name is Miroslav Toro, but his call sign is Drifter. So when we're out in our mechs, he, for clarity and for brevity, he's just called Drifter.
That's a good name.
It's also a great opportunity to give yourself a really cool sounding name that other people recognize you by.
This is like man, this is like my favorite thing whenever they let you do this. Like, this is like the most rule of cool shit ever.
Yeah, like, again, it's, Lancer, I do like the parts of Lancer that play around in the hard sci-fi space, but also it's giant mech robots. At some point, you have to lean into the anime part of it.
Yeah.
Or like, what are we doing here?
I like how I just you saying, yeah, you can give yourself a cool name, and I look at mine and I wrote deer for mine.
You can. It's not required.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Same with deer.
Hey man, fear the deer.
So,
Fear the deer, yeah.
Charlatan.
For
Chuck E. Cheese, baby.
there you go.
Chunky cheese. Chunky cheese. Lay down cover fire.
Chunky cheese.
Middle of a battle. You gotta use my call sign. I'm not calling you Chunky Cheese.
I'm not calling you that.
We are under fire. God damn it.
He goes, no, you're wearing like I'm holding your mech in my arms, like, Bill, I just was like, no, use my call sign. I'm not calling you your call sign, damn it, I'm dying.
Please, I'm dying.
Just
Actually, yeah. Does everyone have a call sign? Again, this is not something you have to decide on now.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna because like I think I'll come up with more of the names because I didn't actually think of the name for my dude.
Yeah,
I
that's
clicked through
fine.
the randomizer until I found a first name that I liked and a last name that I liked.
Nice.
So I landed on Auto Sailor, thinking it was
Ooh.
kind of a semi-generic name because for the nature of my character, you would not want to stand out. So
I
Auto,
like
I kind of like that, and then Sailor with a Y, Saylor. I saw that as a last name, and I was like, that feels like kind of maybe like a futuristic Smith. It's like a space sailor kind of thing, maybe.
Yeah.
So
No, I dig
Auto
it.
Sailor. Call sign Charlatan.
Nice. The name I've been kicking around my head all week, and I don't know why this last name is Service McElroot.
What?
I was thinking in my head, like, I want to have a deer concept for it, because I was already thinking of a mech name, too, of antlers. I'm like, whatever, I'll just roll with it. Call sign deer. And so I looked up Scottish. I don't know why Scottish name for deer. Service. Okay. And then the name McElroot came in my head. I'm like, I don't know if it'll fit, but let's roll with it.
Are there deer in Scotland?
Apparently.
Huh.
There's a Scottish
There's gotta be,
deer.
right?
I mean, it's like an island. It's part of an
Yeah,
island.
that's what I thought. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, hey, I learned something new.
All right.
I'm having a weird moment of crisis. Like there's deer in Ireland, right? Right? Are there no deer in Ireland? Hold on.
If you're in the chat and you're from Ireland, let us know if there are deer there.
Oh, listen, tomorrow I'm going to be playing Lancer with someone who lives in Ireland, and I'm just going to be like, listen, dude, I need to ask you something very important.
It won't make sense. Don't worry about it.
It looks like
Just
so
rock with me here, okay?
guys, we're in luck because there's a whole Wikipedia article called Deer of Ireland.
Well
Yes.
then, okay, we're good.
I feel like
Oh, thank God, okay. Crisis
Yeah.
averted, everyone. There are deer in Ireland. Oh. Tabletop games.
the types of discussions that you get.
Oh, I can't start to relay in jokes from our campaign or we're going to be here all night.
So,
Okay. Alright, no, I like that. That's cool. That's good. Anyone else got before we move on, anyone else got a really cool name they want to share?
I'm like, I don't have a really cool name, but I've got a cool idea for a name. Just like some like really famous pirate ship. I know that there's like I know that Blackbeard is a type of mech, so I don't. Plus, like, so I don't want to.
There's Black Pearl.
There is Black Pearl. I just saw that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Or like Jolly Roger. That's like way cooler. Jolly Roger.
That as the call sign.
Is that a good call sign? Because I feel like that's kind of a mouthful. Yeah, Black Pearl is less of a mouthful.
I mean, it's up to you. I just meant as opposed to like the actual pilot's name.
Oh, Jolly Roger would be a good like.
I mean,
Right,
we're
that's what I
also
mean.
we're in the deep future. Like your name can be whatever you want. Also, it has only just. I remembered a question that I wanted to ask like 20 minutes ago. And that is like, thank you all for coming out tonight. How late is everyone cool with going?
I just chugged a Coke, so I'm down for a pretty long time.
Okay.
But normally I will
I'll
be
say
normally my
midnight.
bedtime's 10. So, but
Okay.
I can stay up much beyond that. Like I said, just chugged a Coke, and if I ever need to stay up a little bit longer, I can just.
Okay. I mean, we're probably not going to be doing like 5-hour sessions, but I figured I should ask.
Yeah, midnight EST is a pretty good cutoff for me.
Okay.
Are we all EST, by the way?
I'm PST.
All but one.
Okay.
EST. Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So, TJ, I know you were like starting at 5. Do you have a good time that's a cutoff for you?
No. It's more about starting late enough than ending early
Okay.
enough for me, because it's, even if it's midnight for y'all, it's 9 p.m. here. That ain't no
Right.
thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. All right. Any other cool names, or shall we move on to the next screen?
Let's
So,
go.
I have written down Patch.
Ooh.
Uh, One, because Doctor Thing, and also because, like Patch Adams, I want to have a clown nose, like a little red, tiny, like normal size, like human size, little red clown nose affixed to the front of my mech.
Amazing.
Like just a tiny red dot taped
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah.
That's fun.
People are like, mercenaries are going to laugh about the mech with a clown nose on the front until someone shows them like gun cam footage of a mech with a nose on the front, like pummeling another one into the ground.
Yeah.
Or they get their life saved by them.
Yeah.
Either or.
Yeah, the mech with the clown nose is just going to be overcome. It's going to be like, you're going to remember this.
Yes.
All right, Slugger, go get him. All right, so let's go ahead and hit continue to the next screen. So next, you're going to choose 4 skill triggers for yourselves. Skill triggers are, again, they are part of the RP side of the game. As you can see, they are all pretty broad. Generally, when these happen, you are going to be in a situation where you're, again, role-playing a pretty broad scenario, and you're saying like, well, okay, say I'm in a bar and being like menaced by rival pilots from another mercenary company. I'm gonna get into a fight with them, and I think I should get a bonus to this roll because I have 1 point in apply fist to faces. I'm good at punching things, I'm good in open, brutal, unarmed combat. Or you can say like, hey, all right, so I think the way to get the information we need is to go behind our superior's back and like hack into the Union Naval database here on this station. And because I have 2 points in hack or fix, I think I get a bonus for that because I'm, good and experienced with either like working with systems or, electronics. These are all things in the RP side of the game that you will call on as like, hey, I'm skilled in this broad area, and I think this is a bonus that should apply for me.
Do you want us to say what we pick out, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if you're cool with it, I'm cool with continuing to do the like live out loud character creation.
Cool. So, when I was thinking of smuggler and I was looking at the list, I thought of word on the street, like you mentioned, talking to somebody on the docks, maybe getting more supplies, or talking to somebody in the dark side of the world. Spot, just to kind of see things. Get somewhere quickly and act unseen or unheard. Both seem pretty roguish, smugglerish kind of thing. You need to get in somewhere, get out somewhere, do something.
Awesome.
I have 3 picked out, and I'd be open to suggestions for another one. So I have take control, just because they might have some kind of physical enhancements that would let them do that. Act unseen or unheard, and then read a situation. The part of the personality for my characters is that everything is new to them right now, so they're almost kind of like fearful. So they're not gonna like try to pick fights. They're probably gonna be more quiet, not necessarily passive, but
Yeah, like shy-ish.
Yeah. I mean, they're in a completely new place. They don't really understand what's happening to them. This is all new, as much as it can be for the nature of the setting. So I don't really know a 4th one to pick.
Stay cool, maybe? If they just kind of like, if they're in a situation that they're not really used to, or under pressure of something that they're not used to.
I feel like
how it would
I would almost argue due to the nature, and correct me, but I was thinking apply fist to faces. Like maybe that's not something you do, but I mean, you're like this crazy enhanced person. I feel like when you decide, okay, I need to go punch the crap out of somebody, like your punch is gonna hurt.
Yeah, well, that's why I did more take control. This character's not someone that would want to get into a fist fight. So they probably wouldn't be particularly skilled in like martial arts. Yeah, it would hurt, but they'd have really terrible technique, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You are more about being imposing than about being a precision weapon.
Yeah.
They don't want to necessarily be a precision weapon. Maybe that's what the shady people behind them are turning them into, and they don't know it, but they really want that. So maybe stay cool. maybe survive for more of the enhancement stuff. Like maybe it changes their temperature tolerances and pain tolerances and things. I don't know.
I think that could work. I do have kind of
That'd be
a
cool.
broader question about your character. Are you, like,
Sure.
with someone seeing your character, would it be obvious that you are enhanced, or are they much more subtle?
Part of the nuance of the idea was that it is supposed to be subtle. They are supposed to be really powerfully enhanced, or that's the goal of the research, in a way that is otherwise undetectable.
Okay.
Like that kind of thing. So like to the point where like the character doesn't necessarily know all of the things that have been done to them.
Ooh.
Sort of like the researchers are just kind of passively gathering data based on what this character is doing. So like they know they've had experimental treatments done to them, but they don't know directly why or what.
Okay.
So it's not like a cyborg where they can willfully change their arm into like an energy cannon.
Sure.
It's just they don't really know. Maybe their enhancements can cause their limbs to do something crazy, but maybe they don't know.
So what were
something like
what were the 3 triggers that you have?
So I have take control, act unseen or unheard, and read a situation. The idea is that this character is a little bit like scared of stuff. So stay cool, I like. Maybe their enhancements can like steady their nerves somehow, release chemicals or something, or survive seem like good candidates.
Yeah. I feel like I'm gonna try not to insert myself as a GM too much, but like word on the street could be a good compliment to, say, read a situation. If you want to lean kind of like having street smarts.
I would if the idea of the character wasn't that they were in a completely new place and things are new and fearful for them. That seems antithetical to word on the street.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll also
Like
put out
basically all of those talk lead change minds seem inappropriate for what I want to do.
Nah, that's fair. I'll also put this out there about skill triggers. So the way Lancer works, skill triggers are not necessarily your limited skills. You can do anything. If you say, I want to do something, you can just make a roll for that. Skill triggers are strictly a bonus on top of that for, well, being skilled at doing that thing. So if you do not to perform an action in narrative time in the game, you do not have to have an appropriate skill trigger for it.
Okay. I think maybe I'll do charm.
That's not
Kind
bad.
of they can like
That's a good-
act pathetic-ish, or kind of with read the situation, kind of figure out what they want and leverage that if they can. Charm or survive? Well, I'll stick with charm for now, just to have a decision made. So take
Sure.
control, read a situation, act unseen or unheard, and charm.
Well, yeah, actually, survive almost works better because you said that your person was like impoverished before all of this, right? So like,
Yeah.
maybe that's something that that's probably an instinct they have.
Survive, I thought was more like nature survival,
I feel like it could probably be both.
like
you
Bear
know, like
Grylls.
because whenever I was reading, it sounds like they want these to be as like,
Oh no, actually, yeah. The
Yeah.
description does say that. Alternately, you can use it to avoid man-made hazards such as navigating a city safely. Personal endurance, poison, or alcohol. Yeah. Actually, I'll do that instead of charm. That makes a little bit more sense. Okay, cool.
Awesome.
I have 4.
And also, I believe I did say, I said this before you had joined TJEP, so I will also say it out loud, actually, again. So my plan for this was for reasons related to when you can get your first kind of mech frame. We will be doing a single level up, so we'll be doing character creation and then immediately leveling up from level 0 to level 1. We don't have to do that level up tonight. That can be something you just like think about for a week and mull over and come to the next session with. But so basically, before anything even happens in the game, you will level up and you will have an opportunity to pick another skill trigger or rank one up that you already have.
oh. So, since I'm like kind of really leaning into the whole pirate thing, the two I've got is blow something up because it's dope and show off. So I feel like my guy is like pretty cocky. Definitely sort of knows the landscape a little bit of the whole like of basically just getting shit done. Like, you know, growing up on like a pirate ship, running all these missions even before they like, you know, like did this whole Lancer thing. Like, I feel like they might have a little bit of like experience in this whole thing.
Sure.
So I've been looking at this page like since then. And I can't super think of anything else.
Well, you said your character was like a prodigy sort of thing?
Yeah. So it's like, started out like prodigy and they sort of like nurtured that. And so now he's an adult.
So you could do like invent or create as well, depending on like the nature of their prodigious skills.
I was thinking like the prodigy was sort of like, you know, like the whole child prodigy, like they're like in the same way like chess prodigies are like really only good at chess, but they're really good at chess, you know? It's sort of like that, but with like fighting and mech piloting and such. So like,
So you could do stay cool then. So you could like stay cool in a fighting situation.
Yeah. That could be cool.
Yeah.
Hack or fix, you could, I don't know how far off just fighting you want to get, but like, you know, hack or fix for your own mech or mechs in general.
Yeah.
Spot, that's something that could that could help a prodigy. Like, oh, the prodigy can immediately figure out where the weak spot on a mech is. Something like that.
Did you say, do you have get a hold of something?
Get a hold of something? I don't.
That might be something to consider too, because if they're a prodigy, then maybe it's like, oh, well then get them whatever they want, sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe your name is known.
Yeah, like perhaps, because I'm down with get a hold of something.
Also leans into the piratic angle a little bit of like, listen, I can get you stuff.
Yeah,
you need something, I can get you something.
Yeah, I'm not new to this whole piracy. You hear me? And then I really kind of
as Silmarian points out in chat, well, these will never come up strictly in the mech combat. That does not mean they will never interface in combat, but you will not like make a skill trigger roll in the combat section. But they are a great way to kind of flavor how you get into those situations.
I love that. Let's see. I think I really liked Spot. I feel like that's probably a good. That's probably good. So I've got blow something up, which is sick. Show off.
Nice.
Get a hold of something and Spot.
Nice.
Sounds piratey to me.
It's a good compliment.
Yahoy.
Yeah.
Or Yahoy maybe. Ahoy.
Yo ho ho.
Oh, ahoy. Oh, matey would be a really good call sign.
Oh, there you go.
Now we're talking.
Wait.
Name Jolly Roger. Call sign Matey.
Hell yeah.
Perfect.
Well, I changed my call sign to Davy Jones because I think that's super dope.
Oh, that's cool too.
That is pretty sick.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool. So Dane and T-Jabs, how you doing over there?
So I think I have 4.
Cool.
Ooh. What you got?
I have Patch, which is literally the call sign I went with. So A, extremely appropriate.
Perfect.
Had a feeling.
B, possibly some who's on first action. 2 is stay cool, because if you've gone from medical triage to mech combat, you've probably been only in high pressure situations in your job. And to that end, get somewhere quickly as like a, you know, like, look, I have to get out there, I have to treat somebody, etc., etc. And then lead or inspire, which I don't see so much as they're kind of a figurehead, but more if somebody with a stethoscope and a serious, stern look says, hey, I need you to do this, that just works like more often than you might like think.
Like if you just walk around with a clipboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as long I like that, like sort of like the role that a doctor has and the authority that a doctor has just by wearing the duds. I like that.
Yeah.
In a high pressure situation, you look like you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I take it as not so much that they're like even super personable, but they look in control of themselves and possibly the situation. So if they say like, "Hey, I got to get behind you," or like, "Hey, I need you to do this for me," that most people just like go with it.
I like that. Actually,
That's
I really
cool.
like that.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm into it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So, let's see.
So, I believe it's just Dane. Do you have your force skill triggers?
Oh, I think I went first, but I'll do them over again.
I apologize. I might have gotten
Oh, no,
your voice
you're good.
confused with RDY.
You're totally fine. But the ones I were thinking of were word on the street, spot, get somewhere quickly, and act unseen or unheard.
Okay. Apologies, this is the operational hazard of I've had Streamlabs OBS up over Discord for most of this conversation, and
You're
only now
totally
realizing I should be looking at Discord.
How dare you not know who we virtual strangers are?
Yeah, come on.
How dare you?
I'm honestly kind of
You're
insulted
totally
right
fine.
Ashamed. Truly ashamed.
Yeah.
now. All right, so
So RDY, do you have your force skill triggers picked out?
Yeah, I decided on I did take control, read a situation, act unseen or unheard, and then the fourth one I ended up with was survive.
Nice. So my screen, I'm just going to click some. All right, so let's move on to talents. So these are the things that are going to come up in mechanized combat. I suppose before we pick these, to explain what the heck some of this means. The basic way that mech combat works is the basic die roll in Lancer is a d20. If you're performing a check or a save, most of the time, 9 times out of 10, the target you are shooting for is a 10 or higher. In mech combat, you will still roll a d20 to perform an attack or a tech action, or just do something on the field that has a chance of failure. You will usually be rolling that against another mech or character's statistic. So, you know, if you're shooting at a mech, you're probably going to be up against their evasion stat. If you are trying to hack a mech, you're going to be up against their E-defense stat. The basic modifiers to these are things called accuracy and difficulty, and they are, when you have accuracy, you add a d6 to your roll. If you have multiple accuracies, you roll multiple d6s and add the highest to your roll. So, for example, a roll with an attack with 2 accuracy would be you'd roll a d20, roll 2 d6s, and add the higher of those 2 d6s to your result. A difficulty is the other way around. You will roll your attack or save or check, then roll a d6 or multiple d6s, and you will keep the highest of those and subtract it from your roll. So something that is an action that is difficult to perform, like say shooting at a mech in cover, you will roll your d20 for the attack, and then you will subtract 1 d6 from that because it's a hard action. If you are opening fire on a mech that somebody has locked onto and you're making use of that lock on, you will get an accuracy on that roll. Now we'll add a d6 to your roll. Beyond that, the basic action economy, I'm told this is pretty similar to D&D 4th edition. I did not play it, so I can't confirm, but just because some of these will tell you about quick and full actions, the basic move economy, or action economy in Lancer is you can, on your turn, you can move, and you can perform either 2 quick actions or 1 full action. So a quick action is like one of the 2 quick things that you can do on your turn. If you're doing a full action, that's going to be a bigger deal. You're doing a big thing that's probably going to have some sort of, you know, hopefully end in a big whammy. Thought now might be a good time to mention that because some of these talents, again, interface directly with mech combat, and you may want to know what some of that means. And also, as a note, when you level up in Lancer, there are some things that you can change. So, for example, when you level up, you will get to add another point to a skill trigger. So you'll add another additional +2 to it. You will get a you have the ability to take another rank in any talent, so either first rank in a new one or add a rank to a current one. But when you level up, you may also reallocate all of your ranks from one talent to any other talent. So you will not necessarily... So again, when we get... After characters are created, when we have like a first full session, we'll do kind of like a demo combat session, followed by a level up. If you get through that and decide like, you know, this talent that I took isn't really doing it for me, I don't really see this doing anything useful, then you can swap that out on level up. So we will go through the pilot talents, but do not feel that you are being locked into something for like the entire campaign right now.
Okay.
Cool.
For now, a good starting point might be to have a quick look at these and be like, all right, so kind of like for the flavor I'm going for, do any of these really sound like my jam?
So, I went through this, and because I am just so stuck on this whole pirate thing. I think it's so sick. Pirate. I have this picture of this giant ass mech, like, with like a sword in one hand and a dueling pistol in the other. And I'm like, and maybe some artillery, like, coming off their shoulder or something. I don't know. But I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, well, there's one that's straight up called Duelist, but it looks like, that looks like it's sword, but then there's also combined arms. And I guess, like, what are sort of the rules, if there are any, on, like, dual wielding in this game?
So, that's a good question. The rules are basically, when we get to mech creation, your mech will have specified mounts on it. And the rules are, so long as you have access to a weapon via licenses, and it fits the mount, you can put it there. So most of the time, you will have, like, a main mount that is just, you can put a main weapon on here. You can put a main weapon or smaller. There are weapons that are called aux weapons, and if a mount has an aux mount on it, that just means, like, you can put an additional smaller thing on there. When you're in combat, your choices are basically, I want to attack with a single mount and all the weapons on it, or I want to spend a full action and attack with all of my weapons.
Oh.
So really, the rules are basically just like, look, can you fit a weapon on this mount? Cool. Can you fire it right now? Do you have enough action points, as it were, to fire it? Yes. Cool. Shoot that gun at another mech, or swing that sword at another mech. Yeah, I figured you might, combined arms might catch your eye. There are some rules here. You see engagement in there. Basically, if you're next to another character, it's hard to shoot a ranged weapon. So if you're next to another character, ranged attacks take a penalty. So combined arms is good if you have a mech that's like, all right, so I want a mech that maybe like has a sword but also carries a rifle. And now I'm faced with the difficult choice of like, well, if I'm getting up close to mechs, then to other mechs, then that's going to make it difficult for me to launch ranged attacks, right? Combined arms basically makes it easier for you to get up close and still shoot your gun.
Sick. So, I guess generally, the other thing that caught my eye was Gunslinger, because I'm like super into it. So I guess generally speaking, with like these aux weapons, which I'm assuming are sort of like sidearms, so like, I guess are they significantly worse?
They're just lower powered. Most of the time when you see aux weapons, they are on a mount where they are equipped with something else. And basically the advantage of that is like, so for example, you can have a rifle and a pistol on a single mount. And if you decide to fire with that mount, that just means you get to fire with both of those. I mean, I guess, yes, aux weapons are air quotes worse in that they are generally lower damage weapons. But aux weapons are by definition weapons that can be fit to a mount with another weapon.
I see.
Yeah, no, as Lance points out in the chats, main aux is broken as hell with a good build. You will notice if you look through the talents, there are a lot of talents that refer to auxiliary weapons, which, yeah, the basic trade-off there is like, yes, an auxiliary weapon is maybe not as powerful as a main weapon or a heavy weapon, but like, you can take talents that make those aux weapons really good. for example, on my own personal mech, my build revolves largely around Hunter, which makes it so that if I attack with an auxiliary melee weapon, I can lunge 3 spaces forward towards the character that I'm attacking. Also, all of my auxiliary melee weapons, because I have leveled up to Hunter 2 now, all of my auxiliary melee weapons can be thrown up to 5 spaces, and at the end of my turn, they return to me.
That's so sick.
That's cool.
The one you were looking at, Gunslinger. So yeah, if you fire an auxiliary ranged weapon on your turn, the first time you do that, you get an accuracy on it. You're just better at it.
Cool.
Rank 2 is return fire, which is like as reaction to if someone shoots you on your turn, if a character hits you with a ranged attack, you can immediately take an auxiliary weapon and shoot back at them if they are within range.
Oh, I kill with my heart.
I have a question about some of these interactions. So, not knowing the specifics of the conditions or whatever you want to call them,
Sure.
The first level of Ace and the first level of Crack Shot. So,
Yes.
Crack Shot is stable, steady. You steady your aim, you become immobilized until the start of your next turn. But Acrobatics says anytime an attack misses you, you can fly up to 2 spaces in any direction as a reaction. Does being immobile prevent that 2-space movement?
I think you're
Those
gonna
are both
hear.
lo-
Yeah, I think you're gonna hear me say a lot. Is let me check that because Lancer does have a lot of moving parts, and I
Yeah.
still have to check up on. Yeah, so an immobilized character may not make any voluntary movements, although involuntary movements are unaffected. So yes, those would not necessarily synergize with each other directly.
Okay.
That does not mean you would not be able to like make use of both of them.
Right. Okay.
So for example, Crack Shot. Crack Shot is a protocol, Stable Steady is a protocol, meaning you can make use of that, but only as long as it is the first thing you do on your turn. So that's good if you want to. Yeah, if you are like, all right, I'm gonna stay in this spot this turn, but I'm gonna in a good position, and I'm just gonna use that until I'm good. I want to have a real good shot here. Acrobatics is So I will tell you there are right out the gate. Here's also I saw something interesting in chat from so I think it was it's from Lance, which is it's Silmarian. Don't think of Vox weapons as weak, think of them as bonuses. Yeah, that's basically true. Right out the gate, there are systems you can put in your mech that do allow you to fly, like either when you are moving or when you are boosting. Like right out the gate, you can have a mech that flies. So from the word go, Ace could still be a useful talent for that as well.
Oh, is flight not a default, form of movement then?
No, you would have to have a system that grants you flight in some variety. Out the gate,
I
there
see.
are
Okay.
systems that do that. So yes, if you take Ace, you are probably going to take mech systems that build you into flight.
Or at least you would certainly want to. Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to use acrobatics. Okay. That makes
So
sense.
they are not necessarily. Crackshot and Ace are not necessarily synergistic in that you'll use them both in the same turn, but that does not mean that they are that they will counter each other in a build necessarily.
Sure. Okay.
I think I have mine selected.
Sure. What you got?
I got Infiltrator, Spotter, and Gunslinger. Infiltrator and Spotter both felt like things that in my head seemed good for a smuggler as well, kind of like going in with the getting things places and also getting in and out quickly while also seeing the threats.
Nice. So yeah, for quick clarity on Infiltrator, Prowl is really good. Hide is a quick action that you can take on your turn that generally requires you to be out of line of sight of other mechs, and that is saying, hey, I'm gonna spend part of my turn to actively hide myself from being spotted by other mechs, and then enemy mechs cannot directly target you. If they want to target you, they have to actually perform the quick action search themselves to be able to directly interact with you. So yeah, Prowl is good because that means you can just be standing in the middle of the field and say yeah, I'm gonna hide.
Heck yeah.
You can't see me now.
Yeah, that sounded really, really interesting. Just like all of those actions with that. And being also able to move through enemy spaces, like on my turn if I really need to, seems
Yeah.
really nice as well.
That's pretty strong. Excuse me. Oop. Pardon the cough.
No
All right.
worries.
How's everyone else doing? Got any questions or got your talents picked out?
I think I have two, which is I like Skirmisher
I also
For-
took that.
for one, and I like as a inversion of everything else about my character. I like the idea of taking Brutal. Just like when we go to fighting, there's no bedside manner about it. You know, it's rough.
Brutal is great. When you crit, you crit.
Yeah, there's no bad crits. It's all devastating. But I haven't thought of a third.
I think, if this is okay, Dane had the medic, or it was T-Jabs?
That's me.
TJ.
T-Jabs had the medic. Okay, yeah, because I wasn't looking at the thing either. I feel like the nature of my character, bonded, would be a good thing to have, but specifically with the medic.
Okay.
So, I don't know if you also want to take that. We get additional bonuses if we both have it.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take that as my third one.
I keep looking at that skill because I thought it was really interesting.
So I'm
'Cause
going to...
basically, it's
Yeah.
like if you're next to each other in combat, you just get so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was also
God, if
looking
you
at
had
the-
Spotter and Bonded, that would be pretty wild.
So I
I
have
was al-
Skirmisher, Drone Commander, and Bonded. Those are my three.
All right. Sorry, I cut you off there, Baloney.
Yeah, TJ. So I was looking like also the other thing I was looking at with Brutal is like Executioner would be another way to lean into that, where you're just like
Oh, I think I passed.
it looks like a two-handed weapon specialist almost.
Ah. Okay.
Like just to like really lean into that, just absolutely belligerently violent sort of like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type sort of like dynamic you have there.
Yeah, that does kind of rely on you taking heavy melee weapons, but if you do, yeah, you can really. I've seen Executioner in action. It's a thing to behold.
Yeah, I'm not. That also, and you could almost take it as if Brutal is with no thought. It's what if somebody knew, like all the bad places to strike, and just did that.
Yeah, Brutal is just kind of great because like all the like Brutal 1 and 2 are both just like, hey, what if you just hit really hard?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
What if when
Aren't
you
you
crit
tired?
someone? Yeah. Too tired of being nice.
Yeah.
By the way, I was looking at Spotter and Bonded, and wow, that would be crazy.
Oh yeah.
I like Gunslinger too much to change it to Bonded, but that would be hilarious to see that combination.
What are your three?
Oh, the three that I have are Infiltrator, Spotter, and Gunslinger. I'm very sold on Infiltrator and Spotter. I'm kind of iffy on Gunslinger,
Okay.
but it kind of makes...
It's
I don't know.
a strict bonus to an aux range weapon.
Yeah. That's the one that's like most likely to change, if anything.
I'll tell you the one I've been eyeing super hard, and it doesn't really gel with the flavor that like I'm going for, but it looks really good. The Nuclear Cavalier.
Ooh.
That one
looks-
was hilarious. I read through that. I was like, this
I
is wacky.
I'm thinking I might drop something for that, to be completely honest. Oh, cool. Whenever I press the arrow next to my combined arms, I got error, container element, dot, b, dash,
Oh
dot.
yeah, I accidentally
Oh,
have
dear.
that.
Yeah.
Go
Whoops.
back. Make sure you remember your first two categories because you gotta refresh your page to do that. Because
Okay.
I had to do that like 5 minutes ago. So
Help
Oh,
computer.
neat. Oh my god. Well, you know what? I didn't really want Nuclear Cavalier. Wait, I can press reset.
Nuclear
Oh,
Cavalier
cool.
2 irradiated.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm definitely taking this on. Nuclear Cavalier. Uh-oh. Dismiss.
This is. Listen. I still get errors from CompCon sometimes. I am not entirely sure what they mean. But the website doesn't crash, so I just kind of dismiss them and ignore them.
It looks, yeah. I have no idea what that meant.
There's a bug report thing somewhere. I should probably report errors more often than I do, but.
All right, cool. I'm gonna go with Nuclear Cavalier because that's sick. I think I'm gonna go with Duelist because that looks really that looks nasty. And then I also kind of I think I still want the Gunslinger because I'm wait, no. I'm gonna do Nuclear Cavalier, Gunslinger, and then combined. That's what I'm gonna do.
Nuclear Cavalier, Gunslinger, and combined arms.
Yeah, Nuclear Cavalier.
Nice.
Wait. Combined arms and then Duelist.
So so Nuclear Cavalier will probably inform how you do a mech build because when you build your mech, you'll see each mech has a heat capacity, and there aren't too many of them. Certain weapons will build heat. Most of the time, you'll build heat either by basically trading heat for extra actions. You can overcharge, say I'm just gonna overheat my mech a little bit and get an extra quick action. The danger zone is when your heat capacity is more than half full, and the additional flavor that comes to that is you can always tell when a mech is in the danger zone because it is visibly hot. It is red hot. So yes, Nuclear Cavalier is I'm gonna willingly push my mech into overheating territory because that's gonna make it hit harder.
Dude.
So that's gonna be Nuclear Cavalier can be very fun.
I just looked at Walking Armory, and now I'm kind of tempted to swap out Gunslinger for it because that sounds hilarious.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, I've recovered from vaccine symptoms, and so now I'm just back into seasonal allergy hell. So if I turn away and cough periodically, my apologies.
That's fine.
Baby. I just got my dose 24 hours ago. Dose 2. Woo.
Hell
oh my
yeah,
god,
nice.
Are you alright?
I am, honestly, I feel very calm because I am in the haze of it.
Fair.
You guys want to be jealous? I got my second dose and had no side effects.
Nice.
Dang.
Listen, I'm just cool with that.
So scared, man. I'm scared, but I'm excited because I was telling Heretic this earlier, but it's like a slot machine, you know? What symptoms am I gonna have? It's kind of exciting in that way.
Ah, good. The Lich pilot has entered the chat.
By the way, I did
God.
swap Gunslinger for Walking Armory because this is that just feels so wacky smuggler where it's oh crap, I'm in a pinch. Let me just grab this random ammo.
Oh, I love that.
I have this box of stuff.
Yeah, let's just see what it does. Okay,
Hey,
I got
you want the
shock
good
ammo.
shit? I got the good shit.
Oh, that's so cool. All right, I'm in love with this pilot talent now.
All right. So I think everyone's got their talents, right?
Yes. I've also justified to myself executioner narratively, which is that
Do tell.
at some point in my career, I have rescued somebody by using a big fucking sword as a scalpel to get to them to treat them quickly. The door got jammed or something.
I love that.
That's
I'm just picturing you in a medic frame or something, just being all right, you got something in there you can bite down on? Is this gonna hurt, Doc? It's gonna hurt. It's gonna be worth it, but it's gonna hurt.
It's like the Meet the Medic, don't worry, ribs grow back.
Well, not so much trying to do surgery with it, but I gotta get in there. I gotta get to you.
Jaws
I
of
gotta
life
open the
situation.
Which it's probably they're super heated swords or whatever, so it's not gonna feel good.
No.
But
it will save a life.
Yeah.
All right. So I think everyone's got their talents, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Awesome. For reference, since I mentioned it, the Lich is a mech in the Long Rim expansion. It does weird time shit. You can literally just say you can put a thing down on the map called a soul vessel, and when you get hit, if you have a soul vessel on the map, you can say, I don't think I'm going to eat that damage, actually. I go back here. I choose not to get shot today.
Oh.
So it's the all-tracer Overwatch party.
Kinda.
Oh,
Oh god, if we for Lich Party, I would cry.
Yeah.
Oh, you wanted to inflict damage? No.
That's up. The devs' reaction to a lot of stuff fans come up with is great because the devs have at one point one of them made a joke like free associating with a player tagging their Twitter account and saying like I'm gonna throw some planets at my players and see what they think later, and one of the devs said like we do not recommend throwing planets at your players unless you want to kill them. 20 minutes later. So it turns out there are in fact 3 ways you can survive having a planet thrown at you. Tom, we fucked up. Tom, the artist and writer of Kill 6 Billion Demons and artist and rules writer on Lancer, replied, working as intended.
Turns out there are 3 ways you can survive it.
Yep.
Okay, you know what? I feel like we're gonna get into that situation or something like it,
Uh,
and we're gonna be like, you know what? Everyone put our heads together. We're getting out of this one alive.
Non-zero chance. All right, so now we return to now we get to mech skills. So these are locked to your pilot. So no matter what mech you have, you will have these skills: hull, agility, systems, and engineering, more broadly referred to as haze. So you will notice that taking a point in each of these confers some bonus to your mech. So for example, taking a point in hull grants you extra HP, and taking 2 in hull grants you an extra repair capacity. 1 in agility gives you extra evasion that makes you harder to hit with melee and ranged attacks. 2 gives you an extra evasion and speed, which makes you faster. Systems gives you electronic defense, which gives you E-defense, and tech attack, which makes you harder to hack and better at hacking. And 2 points gives you an extra system point, which means you can slap more stuff on your mech. And finally, engineering will give you additional heat capacity, again, just harder to overheat, and limited systems bonus, which is there are some systems that are limited. You can only take X number of them. Just means you can take an extra one of those. These have a second feature, which is that you will be called upon to make checks or saves on your mech. And when you do so, it will say, give me a hull save, or give me an engineering check. The number of points that you have in these skills acts as a flat bonus on those checks and saves. So if you put points into hull, you will be sturdier, and also when someone asks you to make a hull check because you're being like slammed into or something is trying to like knock you over, it'll be harder to do that. Points in agility not only makes you harder to hit in regular combat, you'll be asked to make agility saves against things that require you to, say, dodge them or like break free from like a long-range grapple attack, and that'll just make you better at those. So this is pretty straightforward. These are pretty straightforward. You get 2 of these to allocate as you see fit.
I dumped both of mine into agility.
I got
Nice.
both of mine in engineering.
What are the like drone skills? Is that like an SP or is it a limited system?
Drone skills, so they are... Drone skills, they're not all limited systems. Limited systems are not super common. For drones, you are probably going to be doing e-warfare kind of stuff, so systems might be a good choice for those.
So I'll do 2 systems for now then.
I've also taken 2 agility.
Oh, someone's got to take 2 hull. Someone's got to take 2 hull.
Too late.
All right.
Too late, we're all squishy.
Those of you who took 2 agility, you are folks after my own heart. Yeah, okay.
Eric wants to go fast in and out.
Yeah. Vivax in chat has pointed out, drones you want systems and engineering, in part because, there are some drones that are limited systems. Also, I don't know if drones really build up heat. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I am not a great advice GM on this one because I do not play around with drones a lot.
That's fine.
But systems are good to have if you think you're going to play in like drones and electronic warfare space.
Okay, I changed it to 1 in systems, 1 in systems, 1 engineering.
All right.
Just to start.
And then finally, we just confirmed the pilot.
Heck yeah.
Everyone register that pilot.
Auto Sailor registered.
Congratulations.
Davy Jones, let's go. Bill Wilson.
All right.
Galen Patch Adams.
Hell yeah. I want it on the. I will get these character sheets from you at some point, but I do want it on the record that I love all these names. And yes, as Chad has observed, I was demoing the character creation process by building a mech myself. Say hello to John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, aka Jimmy.
What was his name?
Good.
Come on, everybody knows his name. Whenever he goes out, everyone always shouts, "There goes John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt." I mean, you don't know his name.
John will drink Jom. I don't know what.
All right, so before the first action session, again, you will notice if you open your pilot, you'll notice they are at license level 0. So I guess I'll explain that really quickly as well. The kind of flow of action in Lancer is missions and downtime. So downtime is mostly narrative time. It is just any time when you are in between big story beats and nothing is happening. It is the time when you get to do a full repair, when you go back to the hangar for a day or a week, and your mech gets patched up, you're waiting for the next contract to come in, or you're waiting for the next orders to come in. A mission is any stretch of combats and rests that are just this is a big story beat. This is going to result in something. You are moving towards an objective, or you are trying to accomplish a goal. There will be generally multiple combat sessions in a mission. There will be some narrative time in the middle of it. Lancer, both in the way Lancer kind of handles being a post-scarcity society is there isn't money. There is kind of a galactic fiat currency if you want to track something similar to money, just because, it's a post-scarcity society, but that doesn't mean you can buy supplies for a warship. You do have to trade in big money for that. And as such, Lancer also doesn't really track XP. What you get instead is every time you complete a mission, you gain 1 license level. So when you level up, you will get an additional license level, and you may then spend that license on... you may put that license into a mech, and that will unlock more weapons, more systems, and once you have put 2 licenses into a mech, an entirely new mech frame for you to use. So again, you are starting at license level 0. We will be starting kind of the action in the campaign at license level 1, but I think for now, before we do that, let's get into the mech building. So you can all let's get everyone familiarized with the mech building process itself, and then let's just say before next Friday, level yourself up once.
One question.
Yes.
Should we do the gear loadout now, or should we just do that in between the sessions?
You know what? Sure, let's do that now. Let's do that now because it's fun to do.
Cool.
Yeah. So pilot gear, I have not either myself as a player or as a GM encountered a lot of pilot to pilot combat. So these will partially be flavor, but they do have stats associated with them because there is combat. You can get into on foot shootouts or brawls in this game. Also, if you are feeling really bold, and this is something I want to do with my pilot in the game I'm playing in, you can do the Titanfall thing and hop out of your mech and have it. If you have the right systems, you can just have it follow you around and shoot at mechs together.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's pretty dope. So yeah, have a look through your gear. You got 6 slots. You've got 1 slot for armor, 2 slots for weapons, and then 3 slots for gear.
Oh man, yo, check out my stone axe, fellas.
One player in the game that I'm GMing the No Room for a Wallflower campaign. They do have, I believe, I forget if it's a signature or an archaic, but they do have a weapon that they just describe as a future flintlock pistol.
That's sick.
That's so cool.
What is AC for weapons? A/C?
Uh,
I see archaic melee, archaic range, light, medium, and heavy AC.
That is a great question.
Okay.
Let me consult the book. I was looking at that. I was oh, AC. That's
air conditioning, of course.
Yeah. What does AC mean?
Attacking with air conditioners. Okay.
So the giant ass box item, I don't know.
Right. Let's see, I want pilot gear. Give me pilot gear. That would be in the compendium. Alloy composite. Okay, sure.
Okay, so it's made of metal. That's it.
Okay, so AC, that's a weird way to put that, but sure. So AC weapons are melee weapons. That's your...
Okay.
That's you're smack them with it. That's your drive me closer, I want to hit them with my sword.
Okay.
Air car, yes, that's your air car weapon. I'm also looking in chat, and yes, Lance Cobalt/Atlas build is precisely the sort of awful gremlin build you would come up with. And I want you to know I mean that as lovingly as possible.
I just love, by the way, that there's a sleeping bag item, and it actually sounds pretty dope.
Whoa.
You
It
gotta
can
be
be pretty
comfy
useful.
cozy.
Sleeping bag. Hold up.
Yeah, I'll describe it. You can climb into your sleeping bag, gaining immunity to burn, protection against vacuum, and enough air to last an hour. However, you are stunned in the sleeping bag, and you can't. Your only action can be used to get out as a full action. I already just imagined like a spaceship getting attacked, and you just go into your sleeping bag as you just get rocketed out into space.
Oh man.
Yeah, some of the pilot gear stuff is very much in the like it feels to me very much like in the D&D category of like, yeah, this fucks up the game in a very specific and unique way that you will find some way to have fun with.
Yeah.
Oh man. I feel like, well, if I'm gonna be good at blowing something up, I should definitely have something like thermite charges or frag grenades. I feel like that's just that's the Bill special. It's the Davy Jones special.
And yes, if you're looking at pilot weapons, yes, those can in fact damage max. 1 to 2 damage is not a lot, but it will damage a mech. My god, you can carry a melee weapon that will deal 3 damage to a mech. I have seen pilots roll lower damage than that.
Oh wow. That's terrifying, actually. I mean, obviously you gotta throw your whole body at it, but
just a big fucking wrench.
It's like using a greatsword in Monster Hunter, yeah.
Kinda, yeah. You know what? Yeah, that's got to be what it looks like.
Yeah, I got a big heavy melee weapon. I think seems like it does a lot.
I just got a knife and a pistol for mine. I'm just running and gunning. That's the only plan. And then going into the sleep. I'm choosing sleeping bag. This is too funny not to pick.
It's so good.
I'm gonna
Yo,
have
Patch,
that
there's
random
an item
thing
called
of, like,
Patch.
Yeah.
There is?
Yeah.
Patch is required to take patch.
Yeah.
That's true.
Patch.
All right.
That-
It is actually kind of fucking useful.
Is that in systems? Where is that?
No,
It's in
that's-
pilot gear.
That's pilot gear.
So I think I got my
okay.
loadout.
Okay. Yeah, I see what I've done.
So I'm doing stealth hard
Oh,
suit,
whoops.
a light signature, a light AC, camo cloth, nanite. Actually, camo cloth and light hard suit might do the same thing. But the nanite spray and then the sleeping bag.
Sleeping bag.
It's just so funny.
It's really good.
Although now that I look at it, I'm questioning if I need both the stealth hard suit and a camo cloth, because I feel like it might just be doing the same thing.
They might be. One more strictly calls out a thing than the other. Invisible is a very specific condition. Anytime something is invisible in Lancer, that means if you can still attack something that is invisible, but there is just straight up a 50-50 chance that your attack does not work. So the narrative reason behind that being, even if a mech is invisible, there's either like like Predator style shimmer in the air where it is, or you have thermal systems that can still target it. But literally every time you want to attack a mech or a character that is invisible, you first toss a coin to see if you're allowed to. And if you aren't, then you still expend the attack. You just don't get to do anything to them.
Okay, good to know.
So yeah, that's potentially useful. Also, I'll mention another bit of narrative flavor because it's mentioned in one piece of gear. There is a network called the OmniNet in Lancer, and that is basically faster than light internet. It is how communication happens across vast distances near instantaneously. It is literally like internet protocol over blink space. So the OmniHook is the piece of gear that mentions that.
I was just about to swap my camo cloth for OmniHook.
Not a bad idea.
So, yeah, I'll do OmniHook, nanite spray, and the sleeping bag.
Yeah, and like my read of Lancer is that, you know, like literally local internet protocol still exists, like Wi-Fi is still out there, radios are still used, you know, everything as archaic as like semaphore all the way up to like encrypted comms. So, but if you want to communicate over vast distances faster than the speed of light, that is what a connection to the OmniNet will do for you.
Okay.
And it is called out as like basically the only way Union continues to exist, because without it, that utopian project would fall apart. Because the mail would take 20 years to get between planets.
Self-understood. What is this? Semi-liquid.
Alright. I got some stuff picked out. Personal drone, flex suit, and stims.
Nice.
I feel like I can say the flex suit is like built in. Like it's not actually part of the suit, it's part of my character, as long as I always keep it as pilot gear.
I'm really kind of like up between the thermite charges and a sound system. I don't know why my dude would have a sound system, but it's just really hilarious.
Shit, I should give my pilot a sound system. I literally have a note in our like shared Google Doc for the campaign saying like what is playing in his cockpit at this moment.
I don't think you can play music in your cockpit. It doesn't sound like you can play music because it says like instead of like give them a clear line along with just straight up the ability to play. I don't think you can play music without a sound system.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a very boring ride across the galaxy, but
yeah. I mean, that's I don't know. That one's weird. That it feels like it's very much there for flavor because like
It doesn't look like it's. I mean, like their tactical is questionable. It looks
Yeah.
like it's straight up. I think
Like-
what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be boring, and I'm gonna have thermite charges. Although I don't think I'm gonna need 3 explosives per long.
that's
How
cool.
are having explosives boring?
yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I already
Not
have
boring
2.
thing.
I already have 2 of them, so I don't know if I need a 3rd one.
Yeah,
Oh
you do.
well.
Yeah,
why
you do.
why not? I don't have any explosives, so you can take more to make up for that.
Just oh yeah, just go to the bar. What's up, guys? Not much. Your tab's pretty high from last time. Oh, is it? Oh, then I'll just leave and just plant some C4 underneath the bar and just walk out and just click boom.
Yeah. Do you
No more
accept payment in
tab.
grenades?
What? Shoved in his mouth.
Some
Uh,
Deus
I
Ex
think
ass
it's
open world
pretty bad.
interaction. Yeah. Oh no!
oh man.
Don't do that.
Mate. Oh, handheld printer. Guess what, bitch?
Oh
You're about to
yeah.
get hit with the
Oh.
docks.
So that's the other thing because we are in this far sci-fi future. Most stuff can be printed by these super advanced printers that can just print just about anything. Don't worry about it. This is also how mechs get made. The part of the reason you can like rebuild your mech on the fly is like you can rebuild your mech basically within a day if you have access to a sufficiently large printer. There are printers that just print out your mech.
Oh shit.
Cool.
It's
So-
pretty dope.
I took handheld printer.
That looks really nice.
I took
Yeah.
patch, handheld printer, and camo cloth.
Nice.
I think I'm gonna go with handheld printer as well. I think there's so many good uses for this.
I mean, if we have 2 times the printers, that just means if we need anything, we could just get it faster.
Yeah.
2 of you.
If
So
you have
I've
enough
got a
time,
question.
you can in fact print out a mech using a handheld printer. Might take you a week, but you can do it.
I was about to say, just give us a year.
Yeah.
Stall the next battle. Oh, we need a year.
Bologna, I believe you had a question.
Yeah, so I guess with the handheld printers, is there like a way where we can like put them together to like actually make something fast, like something either larger or faster?
Not necessarily, but you could print out its component parts faster. So, like, you can print out the parts for a mech using a handheld printer. It's kind of tossed around jokingly, but it is something you can, in fact, do.
And I think I'll take that. I feel like that's really pragmatic. Okay, cool.
I mostly figure I can like print splints and things on the fly.
I was
Yeah.
going to perhaps print more dubious items like maybe lockpicks, or I guess there aren't really locks at this point. Maybe there are, but I feel like some
you
things
could.
along that nature. So the items I ended up with was frag grenade, handheld printer, and smart scope, because I feel like they've got like the telescopes the pirates do to like look out, and I feel like it's just like kind of an homage to that.
Sure. I had thought somewhere in the book there was actually a picture of someone using like a handheld printer, which I thought was pretty cool, but I may never find it. There is so much cool art in this book, and I can never remember what page any of it is on.
I like just looking at the pictures, to be honest.
Yeah, no, the art's God, in the run up to the release of this, like, not only did Tom post like all the mech art that he had done for the game, but like other artists were starting to post art that they had been like commissioned to do for the book, and like seeing all that get posted and waiting for the book to come out was just like torturous.
It's so good.
But that was 2 years ago, because the March of Time is steady and cares not for you. Also, there is a running joke in the community that while there are like designated replicators that can print food, all printers can in fact print something called Printloaf. Printloaf is edible.
Oh, so it's the hard pack of the future.
Yes, Printloaf is this is printer feed that you can eat and will provide nutrients. Will it do anything else? It will provide nutrients.
Nice.
Alright, sick.
Vivax, I'm afraid I don't remember what the printer glitch is. Oh, wait, no, I think... Are you talking about the infinite copies of the Statue of David?
What?
What?
You know what? Don't worry about that. We can't bring that into this campaign.
Okay.
What started as a, like...
What?
I don't even remember the origin of the joke. It's just been decided in the Wallflower campaign that, like, at any given moment, somewhere in the galaxy, there is a printer operator, like, panic sweating as a printer behind them spits out infinite copies of the Statue of David.
It's canon, right?
Yeah, it probably started as a vaporwave joke, but here we are, alas. All right, so everyone got their pilot gear selected.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. Then I think the thing to do for the rest of the night is just talk about mechs.
Fuck.
All right.
So you've got. So I'll give you a brief intro to some of the, and I do recommend like going into the compendium and just looking at some of the mechs in there, because again, by the time so again, the plan is next week will be a one session kind of demo combat to both introduce you to the actual like combat system of the game, and also to get you up to level 2 and get you a new frame. So when we get into the real action, you will be starting with, if you choose, a specialized frame. But to start out, so you are starting at license level 0. At license level 0, you have access to all licenses from General Massive Systems. General Massive Systems is a bit like what if you combined like Sam's Club and Raytheon. What if there was one company, basically, what if there was a nationalized, state-owned company that produced everything from household wares and basic supplies to starships and building materials to mechs and long-range weapons.
Sam's Club, that's hilarious.
But so, at the start, you only have access to one frame, and that is the GMS Everest. But you will always have access to the GMS Everest. So if you're in your pilot sheet in CompCon, if you mouse over your name in the upper right, there's a box with your name in it and a little drop-down arrow, and go to Mech Hangar. And then in the Mech Hangar, click Add New Mech, and there's your Everest. One of you asked... I'm sorry, just because I'm like showing this on the stream as well, I went to create a new mech and clicked Degenerate Random Name, and it generated nothing in life is promised except death.
Oh no.
which is a wild name for a mech.
I mean, my name for my mech is just Antlers, so
Awesome.
we got two ends of the spectrum.
Mess with the deer.
So yeah, one of you had asked previously about like, hey, is there a look for the starter mech? And the devs have said that there specifically is no canon look for the Everest because it looks like whatever you want it to. Although, if you go into the mech and click Set Mech Image, there are a couple like optional kind of token icons that you can pick for it. But yeah, the Everest is the starter frame. Again, it is your level 0 mech. It is the only GMS frame unless you add the No Room for Wallflower content, in which case there is a version of the Everest called the Sagramartha, which is just, what if the Everest, but bigger? What if you were large? We are, at least not currently, using that pack, so right now your one option is the Everest, and at the get-go you will have access to all of the weapons provided by the GMS license and all of these systems provided by it. So I guess for the rest of the night we'll just be doing Everest builds and also just kind of like bullshitting and talking about all the other fucking weird mechs in the game, and like if you have any questions about building towards a specific thing, what would be a good thing to do with that?
So, I guess right off the bat, since I'm like Nuke Boy, I'm instantly gravitated towards these thermal rifles and thermal pistols.
Mm-hmm.
Does that seem like, is that kind of the move, or like generally like what would be a good idea for these, for like this type of like nuclear sort of also kind of melee heavy build? Kind of where I'm thinking.
Let me see, because I could have sworn there was in fact. Oh wait, so Baloney, what you probably want is. So also, welcome to the mount system. So the Everest has 3 mounts on it. A main mount, a flex mount, and a heavy mount. So a main mount can equip 1 main weapon, and this is the nice thing about CompCon. If you click on the main mount, it will tell you everything that can fit on there. The flex mount can fit, I believe the flex mount is either a main weapon, I'm going to look this up as I'm saying it, but it's either like a main or a heavy weapon, or 2 auxiliary weapons, or aux weapons. Unless someone in one of all but one of my players are in the chat right now. So unless one of them gets that there first. And then it has a heavy mount. So again, the rules are basically, okay, so do you have access to this weapon via licenses? Here we go. Do you have access to the weapon via licenses? You have access to all the GMS weapons via license, so yes. Can it fit in this mount? Here we go. Flex mount is what I'm looking for. Flexible mounts can take either 1 main weapon or up to 2 auxiliary weapons. So where I was going with that is, Baloney, you probably want to take a look at the heavy mount. And also, a mount can mount any weapon of its size or smaller. So you can put any GMS weapon on that heavy mount. It doesn't have to be a heavy weapon. But, Baloney, what you probably want to look at is the thermal lance on the heavy mount, because the thermal lance does 1d6 plus 3 energy damage, but also inflicts 2 heat on you when you fire it.
Ooh.
Oh, and yes, thank you, Glue. You can also put a smaller weapon into a larger mount. So you could, if you really want to put a pistol into the heavy mount, you can do that. However,
you just have this giant this giant sheath for like on your back, and you're like, don't make me use it. And she's like, yeah, I'll bet you won't. It's just like, damn, I couldn't afford the good shit.
pull a mech size 9mm out of a massive sling on
I told you don't want it, pow pow.
So with the flex mount, so I get so if I'm understanding this right, our main mount is just like the weapon we normally use. The flex mount is like just like the backup weapon, and then our like super good weapon is typically the heavy mount.
So the mount names are all references to size. So the main mount can mount 1 weapon, and it can be a weapon of main or aux. So aux are generally smaller weapons. So you can mount any auxiliary weapon or any main weapon on the main mount. The flex mount can mount either one main weapon or two auxiliary weapons. So if you have, for example, if you have a talent that gives you it confers any sort of bonus on auxiliary melee or auxiliary ranged, you would probably want to put an auxiliary weapon into that flex mount or onto the main mount. The advantage of putting, and so here's where we get to kind of the action economy. The advantage of putting two weapons on a single mount is, again, in combat, you can either spend a quick action to fire one mount or a full action to fire all of your weapons. If you fire a single mount, you fire every weapon on that mount. So, for example, if you go to your flex mount and put a thermal pistol and a pistol in there, they are both auxiliary weapons, and you say, I want to skirmish with my flex mount, you fire both of those.
Okay.
Yes.
I now see the auxiliary for that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and again, you can put a smaller weapon into any mount that is its size or larger. So again, you could put a flex weapon into the heavy mount if you are like really sold on going all flex all day.
Okay.
Also thank you for correcting me. Barrage only fires two weapons, not all of them anymore. Nevertheless, it fires a lot of weapons. But yes, anytime.
An auxiliary weapon? I'm sorry, go on.
Oh, sorry. Which weapon?
The missile rack is an auxiliary weapon, and that's just breaking my brain.
Yes. Full actions, yes. Okay, when you barrage, you attack with two weapons or with one super heavy weapon. So yes, anytime you, it probably, yeah, it did. So yes, in the chat, so yes, Silmarian, Glueface, and Vivax are all in my Wallflower game. Glueface had the honor of playing through a homebrew campaign that I did back when Lancer was in beta, and boy, beta Lancer was truly the wild fucking west. It was bananas. There was an entire system. This has now been reduced down into a bonus that you can get if you put 3 licenses into a single manufacturer. But it just straight up used to be that when your mech was completely out of HP, at zero, should be destroyed. What happened instead is you went into like a Titanfall doomed state, and every time you took damage, you instead just rolled on the critical damage table to see if your mech exploded yet. And if it didn't, you could just keep running around doing stuff.
Oh my god.
It was truly buck wild, to use Silmarian's phrase. When your basic attacks in combat, and it should be noted that you cannot repeat, and except for under special conditions, if you're just doing your basic 2 quicks or 1 full, you may not repeat an action. So skirmish is I'm going to attack with 1 weapon and any auxiliary weapons attached to that mount that I'm using. Barrage is I'm going to attack with 2 weapons and any auxiliary weapons on either of those mounts. So now you see the advantage of aux, and if you pair that with any bonuses that you get from talents that give you, that grant you bonuses to auxiliary weapons, you can start to see where some of the wild synergies in this game are coming from.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think Silmarian actually asked this, but I'm 99% sure there is no ruling on the order of weapons. So, for example, Hunter lets you lunge forward 3 spaces if you attack with an auxiliary weapon. So you could say, all right, I'm going to attack with this mount, which has 2 flex weapons on it. I'm going to use the auxiliary melee to jump forward, so that I'm in range of the other weapon as well.
Dude, I'm looking at some of the systems. Yo, guys, you can get custom paint job.
I had already heavily looked at that one.
And there's also personalization, which is you can plus 2 HP, and in consultation with the GM, establish a minor modification. So I think that's how you're getting your antlers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess I could do that. So question.
Yes.
Looking at my ammo cave, it says when you attack with a main ranged weapon. Okay, never mind. I didn't read the full thing. Because I was about to ask, well, I guess if it's a main... I'm sorry, I keep hitting my phone. If it's a main attack weapon and I have 2 weapons on there, say I just choose 2 auxiliary weapons as my main mount, would my ammo case apply for both of those?
Let's see. Once per turn, when you attack with a main range weapon, you may expend 1 charge to apply one of the following to your attack. No, so that would only apply if you attacked with a main weapon to that main weapon.
Okay, that makes more sense. My other question, though, with the flex mount, with the flex mount, if I have 2 auxiliary weapons and one is a ranged and a melee, and like there's nobody in melee range, I obviously can't use my melee attack then, and I would only attack with range.
Correct.
Cool. I might have to think on that. The segment knife sounds neat, though. What's this overkill, though?
When rolling for damage with this weapon, any damage dice that land on 1 cause the attacker to take 1 heat and are then re-rolled. Additional ones continue to trigger this effect. Has anyone in this room played Armello before?
Yes.
They're exploding dice. They are exploding wild dice.
Oh, no.
Except they also heat you up when they do that. And you can get some builds that go truly wild with that. You can be like, all right, there is no upper limit on this, but I am just going to continue to microwave you.
Oh wait, what are mods? I guess we can't install them.
Let me check systems. I don't remember if the GMS license comes with any mods right out the gate. I don't think it does, but there are mods that you can. Yeah, there are mods that can be applied to weapons, which are usually part of like specific mech licenses.
So, I think what I ended up with is the charge blade, a mortar, and a thermal lance. Because holy shit, it's a mortar.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
Mortar's pretty good. Arcing means you don't require line of sight as long as it's possible to trace a path to it. They are still affected by cover. Also, if you look at the mortar, you'll notice it has 1 blast, which means, you choose a space to attack with the mortar, and then everything within 1 tile of that space also gets an attack roll made against it. Is worth mentioning, because Lance did point it out in chat, if you see a weapon with reliable, that means if you make an attack with this weapon, even if it misses, it does however much damage it says next to reliable. So if a weapon is reliable 2, if you make an attack with that weapon and it misses, if it whiffs, you still do 2 damage.
Yeah, I saw that for the assault rifle, and so I definitely chose it.
I picked the Cyclone Pulse Rifle, which has...
Pretty good.
I was going to say, which has reliable 5.
What? Ooh, yep.
What?
It also requires 2 mounts. So it requires the heavy mount
and
another mount to brace.
Oh, you're going straight into super heavy. Okay. Welcome to the world of super heavy. You can only fire a super heavy with a barrage.
Well, I also have 2 little Nexus lights.
Nice.
So I mean, that was a good little round out with turret drones and a Cyclone Pulse Rifle.
So, Marion, I also forgot that GMS has a super heavy, but I'm looking at it now, and it's a real good super heavy is the thing. It is accurate, which means attacks made with this weapon receive +1 accuracy. It is loading, which means that you have to use stabilize after you fire it to reload it before you can use it again. And yes, it is reliable 5. It does have a range of 15, and if it hits, it does do 3d6 plus 3 kinetic damage. Which, Vivex, as you point out, that's your Unraveler at this point. That's bananas.
That's definitely wild.
Yeah, this game rules.
Put me in a situation weapon.
Yes. So one of you had also asked about flying. I don't know if anyone took Ace, but if you do want to get into flying, there is Rapid Burst Jump Jet System, which is you can fly when you boost. Boost is the quick action that lets you move again, basically. So you can fly. You can fly when you boost. That means you can say fly over difficult terrain or fly up a level if it's like a cliff to scale. You can instead just kind of fly up over it. There's also the Type 1 flight system, which just makes you can count any or all of your movement as flying. But you do take your size +1 heat at the end of your turn if you fly in this way at any time. So there's your flying options.
Wait, so what's this EVA module? Oh, it's only in low gravity. I see. Okay.
Yes, and I will also say, because this was the thing that I was talking with Solmarian about yesterday, because I've wanted to see this in action, I can promise you there will be one 0G, at least one 0G combat encounter. That does not mean... Yeah, that does not mean you have to take the EVA system. Mechs without the EVA system just count as slowed, which means the only movement they can take is their standard move. They can't boost or take any like additional bonus movement while in that environment. The EVA system will let you counter that. But yeah, because I wanted to see a 0G fight, there's going to be a 0G fight.
That's sick. I'm so pumped. Dude, the expanded compartment is literally just for your dog.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about taking that as like a smuggling thing. Just
Yeah.
like I have the extra room for stuff.
Ooh.
I also definitely picked up the pattern A smoke charges. Does that sound sick?
That's pretty good.
Definitely picked up those bombs.
That's free soft cover for you.
Yeah. Heck. I'm just trying to run places and then hide. Not get
Thanks
hit.
for fighting, nerd.
I wish to remove myself from a situation.
Exactly. Never put
like-
me in a situation.
My job here is done, but you haven't done anything, Smoke Grenade.
Oh yeah, watch this.
Oh yeah, the deployable cover seems really cool too.
I was considering taking that.
Yeah. The cover is not a bad workhorse for level 0 or level 1 mech.
Does this cover count as like a surface? Because I picked the turret drones and it says they need a surface.
Well, I mean, I would say so. I mean, for the purposes of turret drones, we've also counted everything, including like the ground, as being a surface. I have to take a look at this, but I think you can also count a mech as a surface. Because we have multiple people in Lancer games that I played have taken out a drone and slapped it on their own face.
Attaches to any object or surface within sensors in line of sight.
Okay, yep.
It is the CompCon class assistant unit how people like do the Titanfall fight outside the mech sort of thing?
It is. So now we learn where the name CompCon comes from. So basically, your kind of levels of AI in Lancer are CompCons are advanced Siri. They are advanced actual computational artificial intelligence. Most people's like personal handheld computers have a CompCon or companion and concierge assistant on them. There are more advanced versions of them, which yes, you can get a CompCon unit in your mech that will allow it to follow you around Titanfall style and perform simple actions.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Yeah, it can also be used narratively if you're saying like, yeah, I want to move on foot out in this environment, but I also want to have my mech come with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I might take that. It looks really cool. But I'm trying to think like what type of like situation would I be like? Alright, I'm getting out of here and I'm gonna be real. I'm about to hero this shit.
I mean,
more points. I have no idea what to spend it on.
I mean, the CompCon thing could be the thing that I literally do in Titanfall, which is like, alright, I've still got my mech, it's about to explode, so I'm gonna get out of it and have it follow me around, so I can still have a mech that I'm fighting with, but if it explodes, I'm not inside of it.
Yeah.
I'm into that because I feel like just being like super. I feel like I don't know how prone to being like to going nuclear my mech is gonna be. Like how heavy I leaned into that. So like,
that
maybe that.
That is the thing you do have to be careful of. So here is a bit of a quick breakdown on your mech. So you'll notice your mech has up at the top there under mech attributes, it has structure and HP. So HP is when you take damage, the damage goes to your HP. There's an entire order of operations for damage reduction, but nobody has armor right now, so it's probably not going to be a big deal. Structure is effectively how many health bars you have. All players have 4 structure. When your HP reaches 0, you reduce your structure by 1. Any additional damage and reset your HP bar, and then like any bleed over damage also goes to your HP bar again. But whenever you take structure damage, you roll on the structure damage table, which is in the book. I think CompCon will provide it as well. And I've also, like in Roll20, I also whipped up a quick reference for that. Basically, you roll a d6, and the more structure damage you take, the more d6s you roll. You take the lowest result, and that will tell you, okay, what bad thing happens as a result of you getting hit. And that could be anything from your mech gets impaired for one turn, so like everything you do is more difficult for one turn, all the way down to like, alright, roll a d6, and if you roll a 1, your mech explodes right now.
Oh shit.
More commonly is like in the middle, there's like, alright, roll a d6, if you roll a 4 through 6, then then one system on your mech gets destroyed, and you just don't have access to it until you can repair it. On a 1 through 3, one mount gets destroyed, and you don't have access to those weapons until you can repair them. So, effectively, when your mech says it has 10 HP, so like the mech that I'm looking at has 10 HP, but really it has 40 HP because it has 4 structure. So, that is how structure works. You will also notice under that, and Baloney, this is probably going to apply mostly to you, is your stress and heat capacity. Heat capacity and reactor stress work the same way. When you overheat, you mark down, you subtract 1 reactor stress, and you roll on the reactor stress table to see what bad thing happens there. When your mech explodes from damage, you can pretty much always get out of it. I think there are specifically very few situations where the mech exploding takes you with it from getting shot at or smacked. The golden rule of Lancer is specific rules always overwrite general ones, which brings us to the point Salmarian just made in chat, which is that the Manticore has a core ability that lets you prime your own mech to blow it up and cause a big explosion, and specifically says, this kills the pilot.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. But so, if you take damage from getting shot at, you can almost always crawl out of the wreckage of your mech. Or you can eject from your mech to, get out of harm's way faster. Baloney, you will have to keep an eye on your heat, because stress puts you in, taking more reactor stress, puts you in a position where you are at risk of having a reactor meltdown. A reactor meltdown will vaporize your mech and kill you. You do want to be careful.
Alright, I think I might... Okay, so I'm looking at my thermal lance and knowing how this works. 2 heat sounds pretty rough, especially since I think I only need 4 heat to be in the danger zone, right? Since I'm at 8.
That's true. So I mean, 8 heat means that you have to accrue 9 heat at once. You have to have 9 heat on your mech in order to take a point of reactor stress. I mean, the good news about overheating is, rolling on the overheating table, the soonest that your mech can melt down is at the end of your next turn. So you will always have 1 turn to jump out.
Okay.
And there are actions that you can take in combat that do clear your heat. So you can, I believe it is the stabilize action, you can take as a full action, but it will clear all conditions that are set on you and clear your heat.
So
if you need to cool off, you do have options.
Alright, cool. But I am definitely gonna change my mortar because that's inaccurate, and I'm not trying to fuck with that. And I'm gonna get maybe a more reliable ranged weapon.
Yeah, that's fair.
I hate how cool custom paint job is, because I'm still really tempted to take it.
It's just like, yo, I may have got this
yeah.
from Sam's Club, but you better believe I'm about to spray paint the fuck out of it.
I mean, custom paint job is fun, again, because it does have that thing, like, so that is the power of custom paint job, is you do have to declare, I want to use it on okay, I've been structured, I'm going to make a structure roll. There's a chance that it will fail, but you can declare, alright, I'm going to use custom paint job on this. I'm going to roll a d6, and if I roll a 6, then I just ignore the rest of that damage. It didn't structure me, I'm actually fine. Like, custom paint job is literally the, like, oh, thank God, that bullet hit the flask in my jacket pocket.
That's so cool.
That is very cool. It's either I choose that and another +1, or I just take stable structure and just gain accuracy to not be knocked down.
Yeah, stable structure ain't bad. That's just a flat bonus.
Yeah, I took that.
You're just harder to knock over.
How bad is being knocked over in this game?
Not great. So when you are knocked over, you gain the condition prone. That means you're on the ground. You are slowed, which means that while you are prone, you can only take your standard movement. You can get out of prone by, instead of taking your standard movement, spend it to stand back up. The real nasty thing about prone is that while you are prone, all attacks made against you gain +1 accuracy.
Even ranged attacks?
Even ranged attacks, and yes, even tech attacks. Once again, the devs of Lancer have acknowledged that this is ridiculous and made it very clear they don't care, they're not fixing it.
Nice.
But yes, while you are on the ground, any attacks made against you, whether they are physical or tech attacks, gain an accuracy. So yeah, being prone is not the end of the world, but it is extremely capital S suboptimal.
So that would be really useful.
Yeah. That would just, yes, that would mean in any situation where you are in danger of being pushed away, potentially like off a ledge or something, or you're in danger of being knocked over, it's just harder to do that.
I have a question. I forget if you mentioned it earlier or not.
Sure.
Can you have like +2 accuracy on a roll?
So that was actually the thing I was thinking I should probably, I did kind of bring that up. Okay, but I'll go over that in more detail. So when you have multiple accuracy or multiple difficulty, you keep the highest results. So it is possible to have 2 accuracy on a roll. And what that means is just you have more chances to roll higher on that accuracy.
Okay.
If you have, and again, like you don't have to internalize all this today. There's a reason that I wanted to say, like, all right, the first actual session is just going to be a combat tutorial. You're going to hop in the sim pods and have a simulated battle. If you have accuracy and difficulty, rather than rolling them together, they just cancel each other out. So, for example, a roll with 2 accuracy and 1 difficulty is actually a roll with 1 accuracy.
Okay.
So yeah, it is in fact possible to stack accuracy. Silmarian has in fact done the math on what the optimal number of accuracies to stack on is. I believe 2 is really good. 3 is when you start hitting diminishing returns.
Okay.
But yeah,
Because
go ahead.
Ew, man.
I was thinking with the personalizations, if my mech is called Antlers, maybe my modification is like the dumb antlers on top, help out with it not being knocked over or knocked prone, I guess. I don't know if that would be an acceptable thing or not, but
I would be down with that. So that's the thing you'd want to make a note of on your character sheet. But so that would be like probably that would give you a bonus on hull checks save, or hull checks say, for example.
So +1. There's an equipment note I can make, so I can do like +1 accuracy or +1 accuracy on hull saves.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I'll make this note, and yeah, that's cool.
Yes, thank you, Silmarian. The first accuracy is super important. The second is great. The third is like, well, maybe I can find something better. Thank you, data scientist.
But you mad.
Alright, I think I have my mech Settle with Elegance ready.
Same.
Nice.
I think I'm good too.
I think I'm pretty good too. I'm not sold on the name, but you know what? I'm gonna change it later.
Yeah, there's a question. Is it bad form to, if we like the name, to use it after we level up if we get a new mech, a new frame?
No, that's between you and Ra.
Gotcha.
That's and as the mech hanger has perhaps implied, so you can only field 1 mech at a time. There is a no fun allowed rule built in that says there is space DRM built into all mechs, where if you print another one, the first one explodes. But you can in fact you can make as many builds to have available as you want, so long as you only have 1 mech deployed at a time and you have the time to print them if you want to switch. Again, the only limit is, do you have the license for these things, and do you have the space to mount that weapon or mount that system? All right, so we got mechs, it sounds like.
Yep.
Yeah, boy.
All right. So between now and next Friday, you are going to level up to license level 1. If you go back to your pilot's main screen, you see where it says license level. There's a button that says level up. You don't have to do that right now, just as long as it's done by the next session. But yeah, so this is basically everything I had planned for a session 0. The only other thing that might be good for tonight is if you want to look through other mech licenses that are available and start talking about and thinking about what look through the compendium and start talking about what licenses you might want to take, because by next Friday you will have taken one license in one of the other available mechs, and by the end of next Friday you will have a second license that you can put into that mech, which means we will start the real action with a whole new frame for you to play with.
So, okay, one thing I want to ask about
yes.
while we're going through some of the other mechs, because I definitely looked at that Manticore. So what is the core stats and the core system? It looks like there's all these, I guess, core stats, I get, because that's what we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
But traits, core systems, it just looks like there's a lot.
This is a great conversation to have, and I actually just had a thought, which is, I could actually use a quick 5-minute bio break. How would everyone feel about taking 5 and coming back?
Absolutely, bro.
Yeah.
Great.
Sure.
All right. I'll see you all in 5 minutes.
All right.
And we're back. All right. So, Baloney, before the break, you had asked about core systems. So I guess now's a good time to give kind of a high-level overview about... Before going into the details about core, here's a quick high-level overview of like the mech manufacturers that are out there. So you've met GMS, General Massive Systems. You always have access to the GMS gear catalog. When you get your first license level, you will start putting licenses into mechs created by one of the big four. Each mech has 3 license levels. Spending one license on it gives you the next level in it. So, next Friday you'll have the first level in a mech. That will give you access to new weapons and systems. At the end of next Friday, you'll have the second level, which will give you access to more stuff and also that mech's frames. The big four are the 4 mech manufacturers of player available mechs. They are IPS Northstar, which is kind of a manufacturer that grew out of like a merchant marine outfit, out of a union between 2 shipping companies. They are tough. They are designed for close combat. If you want a big beat stick of a mech, that's who you go with. There is Smith Shimano Corpro, who are kind of they're the highly customized boutique mechs that you can get. They are fast, agile, flexible. Several of them can turn invisible. There are a couple mechs in that catalog that work well as support and battlefield control mechs, as well as strikers. There is Harrison Armory, who are one of the... they're an older corporo state that kind of operates at, has come out of a tradition of imperialist doctrine, effectively, but they are technologically advanced. They are generally, like, the ones that are strikers or attackers are big power hitters. That is where you get... why did I forget the name of that? There's a mech that just has a big laser built into its head. That is the Sherman, of course. How could I forget? If you want just, like, top of the line gear that is going to hit hard and do wild stuff, Harrison Armory is your choice. And then there is Horus. Horus is not a corporate state. They are a decentralized collective that not a lot is known about. They are believed to have a sort of... they are believed to revere Ra as a deity of sorts and have very complicated relationships with NHPs. But they are your hacker and weird caster mechs. They are very good at launching tech attacks at enemies, inflicting statuses on them, dealing heat. There are some Horus mechs that are very good for playing the sort of battlefield controller that says, I set rules and if you disobey them, you get hurt. Horus is a fun faction flavor-wise because it is... No one really knows how you get a Horus license. They seem to find their way to you. It is speculated that there are, in fact, a limited number of Horus licenses out there in the galaxy, and that when one pilot dies, it finds its way to another.
Is that something we're going to be allowed to pick then, or is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. This is like I would much rather do a bit of a backflip narratively to introduce some weird shit to let someone pilot a Horus mech that wants to, rather than say like, no, that's too weird. We can't have a Horus mech. Because
I definitely have a Horus mech that I'm interested in.
Awesome.
Which one?
And you can probably guess if you've been paying attention to what I've picked, but I'll save it for a surprise. if someone can't figure it out.
I can't. I guess just I forgot like all the stuff you picked, but I am so down for surprises.
There's a lot of stuff going on, so
yeah, don't worry about the flavor of your mech license levels too much. It's a fun space to play in, but if it becomes weird, I would much rather say like, you get a license somehow, and I'm not going to worry about how, and we're just going to move on. Go ahead.
One question. So when we get a level 1, that means we get rank 1 of a license, and when we get level 2, that's when we can actually build the mech?
Correct.
Okay.
So again, the flow will be next week. Everyone will come into the session with rank 1 in a mech. So you'll still be piloting the Everest, but that will give you a chance to, like, use the Everest as training wheels, basically, to try out the combat system. Then after completing that, you will be able to get rank 2 of that mech, if you so choose, and have a new frame to play with. So, really quickly, so Baloney, to answer your question, if you want to jump back to your Everest builds really quickly, so each mech has mech traits and a core system. And actually, you could also view this in the compendium, which is what I'm going to do on the stream. So each mech has traits and a core system. The Everest traits are that once per scene, the Everest may take any quick action, may take any quick action as a free action. Everest has a reputation for being able to go very fast because you could, in fact, move and then boost and then just like... Actually, I don't think you... No, you could not repeat that. But the Everest can just do stuff. The Everest also has a active core power. So every mech has, on top of traits, a core power. This can be activated. You get 1 charge of core power. To recharge your core power, you need to have a full rest, which is 10 hours of uninterrupted time in a secure location. So akin to a full rest in D&D. I believe usually the flow of a mission is like you get to pop your core once per mission, but rules-wise, until you get a full rest, you can only use that core power once. The Everest core power is Hyperspec Fuel Injector, and it says, for the rest of this scene, you gain +1 accuracy on all attacks, checks, and saves. Additionally, once per turn, you can boost as a free action. I do believe that overrides you can't repeat an action, so I believe you can move, boost, and boost in an Everest. Wow. Oh, okay, thank you, Lou. Free actions do override the no repeated actions rule. So, once per scene, the Everest may take any action as a free action. And a scene is like a combat encounter. And then, if you activate your core power in an encounter, for the rest of that encounter, you gain +1 accuracy on basically everything, and every turn, you can boost once for free. So, the Everest base speed is 4, which is not bad. If any of you took agility, it's probably either 5 or 6 at this point. If your Everest has a speed of 5 and you pop core power, you can move 15 tiles in 1 turn. Everest go fast.
Get in, get out.
Yeah, no, just listen. Get in, stay in. We don't run away. We ain't cowards in this house.
That's your suit, not mine.
I have literally used the Everest free action to just be like, all right, well, our mission objective is to evacuate the area. Cool. Bye.
Peace.
Anyways,
we
later.
Go.
Yeah. So when you are looking through the mech catalog, as it were, at the licenses available, when you look at a frame, its traits are just stuff that it has that it can do. And its core power is an active ability, an ult, if you will, that you can pop once per full rest. So, Baloney, I believe you had kind of dove immediately off the deep end, and we're looking at the Manticore.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was also looking at the Tokugawa, because that seemed equally dope.
Tokugawa is cool. Manticore is kind of known as being the really wild one because Manticore is like all aggro all the time. Looking at its traits. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, the active ability on that is pretty wild. Yeah, the wild ability on the Manticore is the trait, Castigate the Enemies of the Godhead. When you rest or perform a full repair, you can push the Manticore into an unstable castigation state, or bring it out of one. In this state, the Manticore explodes immediately when destroyed due to damage or reactor meltdown, vaporizing it and instantly killing you and any other passengers. Characters within Burst 2, so within 2 tiles of you, must succeed on an agility save or take 8d6 explosive. On a success, they take half damage. This only takes place if you are physically present in the Manticore.
You must die.
Oh no.
Yes.
I don't know. Okay, so I don't know how down to clown with that I am.
I mean, that's optional. You don't have to do that, but
you'll be down to clown with it exactly once.
Yeah, exactly. You only need to live once.
It only needs to be one time, yeah.
In this state, so do I get any bonuses for doing that, or?
I mean, that just does a shit ton of damage. It also has unstable system, which means when destroyed, if you have not pushed it into castigate mode, when destroyed, the manticore explodes as a reactor meltdown at the end of its next turn. So you, at that point, you're in the state where you can still hop out of it and let it explode. It does have one good frame trait. It does have one good frame trait that is not lethal to you, the pilot. Slag Carapace gives you resistance to energy damage and burn. So if you have resistance to something, that means you take half damage from it. Half damage, really rounded up. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's especially good for burn, which we may encounter next week. Burn is real nasty. Burn is the damage over time effect.
Got it.
Ooh.
Yeah, resistance to burn is super good.
But I'm also looking at some of the core systems. So once per round, when you take heat damage, you may deal 2 electrical damage AP to a character within 3 tiles.
So AP is armor piercing. So that, yes.
Oh, so he just goes right in.
Yeah, this would be super, Baloney, this would be super busted with your build if you got in close to people, because if you have a build that involves you putting heat on yourself, you can literally get into a fray, make attacks that give you heat, and every time you give yourself heat, you also do 2 armor piercing damage to anyone within range 3 of you.
Holy shit.
That sounds nutty. Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, and then, man, I just love these abilities. Destruction of the temple of the enemies of Ra. Like it's like, imagine shouting that at your screen or whatever. That's hilarious.
Oh yeah, that one's also pretty bananas for your build, because that is if you gain a charge die, 1d6 starting at 1. When you take heat or energy, even from yourself, I should say energy damage. When you take heat or energy damage, even from yourself, increase the value of the charge die by 1. When it reaches 6, the absorbed energy discharges in a burst 2 inferno. Characters within burst 2 of you must succeed on an engineering save or take 6d6 armor piercing energy damage.
So this says onboard core system. Is this the thing you said we could only use like once per long rest, essentially?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So onboard core system is your alt. That is your, all right, I'm gonna use this to do it big. This combat.
So how does that work with passive? So like you just enter the super state and then you choose when you would use the active while you're in the state? That
is correct. So any passives that your core confers, you just have that. The active is only when you spend your core power, when you pop your ultimate.
Oh, so you have passive without popping the core system.
Yeah.
That is correct. Okay. Any core system that is marked as passive is always on. Anything marked as active requires you to press the big red alt button to use it. So core passives are just like extra mech traits.
What if, so I'm looking at something that says core integrated equipment, but it's also under the core onboard system. It doesn't specify passive or active.
Which mech is this?
I don't want to spoil it for everyone else. Let me see if I can find another one that says that.
If you'd like to DM it to me over Discord,
we can talk about it later too.
Okay, yeah. Because the other thing is, CompCon is a free piece of software supported entirely via Patreon and made by like a handful of people at most. It's a really incredible piece of software, but the guy who makes it, Beef, has also specified like, hey, there may be some typos and some inconsistencies with the book. The book is always right if that's the case.
Okay, actually, I think I do get what this is, but I'll still DM you later.
Sure. And of course, we're all in the Discord here together, so if you got any questions over the next week, hit me up. I will answer them as best I can.
I think I have one that I'm starting to look at. I'm kind of looking at the swallowtail. I need to look at more of the other ones, but that one seems really interesting.
Swallowtail is pretty fun. Oh, sorry. What was that, D-Jabs?
Oh, Javi, I thought you were done. I was going to say I fell in love with the Metal Mark immediately already.
Ooh. I have not seen a Metal Mark build in action yet, and I'm very excited about that prospect.
Oh, that thing looks sick.
It's invisible while moving, but reappears while stationary.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, if you like turning invisible, SSC mechs are the way for you. If you like teleporting, SSC mechs might also be the way for you. I recommend just having a look at the Morning Cloak for a chuckle. because the Morning Cloak can just teleport when it moves.
Yeah, I've been mainly looking at the SSC ones because they are ones that go invisible, and that's how I found on the Swallowtail. And actually, I remember Abbott posting photos of this one, I think, on Twitter, and I was like, oh, sick, that one looks sick.
Yeah, no.
Now looking at his abilities, it's like, oh, this is...
Yeah, he's been running a Swallowtail build.
It reminds me of I think they're called the Tachikuma from Ghost in the Shell.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds me of those.
Very much. Yeah, Swallowtail is a fun, like, combat support controller. Yeah, once per round, when the Swallowtail inflicts lock-on, its target also becomes shredded until the end of its next turn. That's very good because, so, in combat, there are always 2 tech actions that are available to you. One is, if you succeed on a tech attack, you confer heat, and the status is impaired and slowed on the enemy. So that means they just can't move as far, and everything they do is more difficult for one turn. The other is lock-on. You can always, if you are within sensor range of a mech, you can just declare that you is locked onto now. You just do that.
So that's a quick action?
That is, yes, that only requires a quick tech. A lock-on is a quick tech. So, yeah, if you have the Swallowtail, you can just declare that a mech is locked onto, and that you can, once per round, you can declare I lock onto it, and also that mech is now shredded, meaning it can't benefit from resistance or armor. So, against big armor targets, very good. Also, you may have noticed, the Swallowtail has the sensors of 20, which is lots.
Yeah, that seemed pretty big when all the numbers are like 5, 6, 10,
20.
Yeah, like something with sensors 15 that's got pretty good range. Something with sensors 20 is like a lot of times that'll be most of the battlefield. Samarian has also helpfully pointed out, if you are interested in drones, the Horus Hydra is a good way to go. The Hydra is just drones are us.
Yeah, I saw that one. I was like, man, that looks really cool. So our controllers, like, those are like the Magic Boys, right?
Yeah, controller mechs are mostly gonna be, they vary. They're mostly gonna be, again, the Swallowtail is kind of like a support controller in that a lot of times it doesn't so much control what other mechs can do so much as it makes it easier for mechs on your team to do things to them. So again, like the Swallowtail, you can lock onto a mech and shred it and just declare like, all right, now that mech is easier to hit if you decide to use that lock on, and it's shredded so it doesn't have any armor on it. It's active means that you can say like its active core ability means that you can just say like you can just reduce damage that's done to somebody. There are the sort of quintessential Horus battlefield controller is the Horus Goblin, the horrible little goblin, who is the one that sets rules of like, okay, here are the rules of engagement, and if you break them, I smack you. Actually, no, sorry. I think that might be the Minotaur. The Goblin is great for, like, shoving people around the battlefield and giving them heat.
Oh,
the Goblin is great for
sick.
bullying people. The Minotaur is pretty cool.
I saw it
maze.
Minotaur does come with its own built-in antlers.
Oh.
That sounds like a rap.
Okay, I have 2. You didn't have to tell me about the antlers. Oh, no.
Yeah, the Minotaur, also congratulations. You have found one of the 3 ways you can survive being hit by a pilot. While inside the Minotaur, you can't be harmed in any way, even if the Minotaur explodes or is destroyed.
Nice.
Oh, also, okay. Mild flashing lights warning. In the compendium, all the Horus mechs have weird text effects if you mouse over anything with, like, black text or a black background. It's not, like, the whole screen doesn't flash, but, like, the text goes weird.
Okay.
Which is a fun little flavor touch. Does the Minotaur have... What does Minotaur have again? There's one mech that has a system. Internal hit the... yeah. Minotaur is pretty fucking cool. God, I'm trying to remember which. I think it's one of the Horus frames has a system that is like you have to stay within X number of tiles of me, and if you don't, you take heat.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, the goblins HOROS HOR_OS is very good for being like, all right, I move you around the battlefield, and if you disagree, you get slapped.
Man, this is so cool. Like, there's just, you're right. I totally underestimated like the like the ability to just like go nuts on this build and stuff. Like, I totally.
Ah, right, okay, yeah. So the one I was thinking of, thank you to Silmarian and Glug, former Minotaur pilot Glugface in chat. Yes, Law of Blades, which is Minotaur 3. That is predatory prey concepts. Make a tech attack against a hostile character within sensors. On a hit, they immediately attack a different character or object of your choice with a single weapon as a reaction. And then slave systems, make a tech attack against a hostile character within sensors. On a hit, they immediately take one of the following actions chosen by you as a reaction. Boost, stabilize, improvise attack, yada yada. I think I might have been thinking of something else, but yeah, that one is very good, because the Minotaur is just like, I'm just going to use your weapons, actually.
Okay, I'm definitely looking at the Minotaur and the Swallowtail.
Oh, aggressive system sync. That's the... Okay, no, it is still Minotaur. Ah, yes, there it is. That's what I was looking for. Oh, Minotaur 2. So if someone did take the Minotaur and took two ranks in the Minotaur license, you could have this, because it's only rank 2. Aggressive system sync includes Chains of Prometheus. Make a tech attack against a character within sensors. On a hit, they take 4 heat, and for the rest of the scene, take 2 heat anytime they are more than range 3 from you at the end of their turn.
Ugh.
Wow.
Disgusting. I love it. I'm not going to spend all night talking about Horus mechs, because, like, there are a lot of other mechs that do cool things, but the thing is, the Horus mechs all do buck wild shit.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed.
I do recommend at least once, because I'm looking at it now, at least once, everyone in the room should take a look at the Horus Pegasus.
Pegasus.
Yeah, like all the other Horus mechs are like, do you want to be a weird battlefield controller and set the rules of engagement for everybody and play with weird magical e-warfare stuff? Cool. What do you take the Pegasus for? The Pegasus is weird. It crawls on all fours, it has toes, it's got a black hole on its back. What does it do? It shoots a lot of guns.
Yeah, I see that. It just says
I love how it just extrude gun.
Yeah.
gun.
Frame trait, gun.
Gun, yes.
Gun,
What does that trait
yeah.
do? It says right there, gun. Gun. Yeah.
I have learned a lot about this mech.
By the way, I know everything is wild. Yeah, the Pegasus, I think, may be able to mount the most weapons of any mech in the system. It has 2 flex mounts and a heavy mount. So if you went aux-aux on both of those flex, you could, in fact, mount 5 different weapons on this mech.
Oh, wow.
And that is before we get to the Ushabti Omni gun.
Ushabti Omni gun.
Yes. Once per round as a free action... This is a passive. Once per round as a free action during your turn, deal 1 armor-piercing kinetic damage to a character within range 15 in line of sight. This doesn't count as attack, hits automatically, ignores cover, bypasses immunity, and damage can't be reduced or ignored in any way. And I'm going to the book because CompCon does have the direct text of, like, no rule supersedes this, but it's not as great as the text that is in the book, which is, no rule in this book or any other supersedes this.
What?
Wow.
And you may be thinking, okay, this 1 armor-piercing damage. Like, okay, sure. But that is 1 armor-piercing damage that you can always deal for free, provided you are within range 15 and line of sight, once per round. That is
crazy.
If in the multiverse theory of reality, if there is a reality out there where you are within range 15 of the Pegasus, then there is one reality out there where the Pegasus is hitting you with the Ushabti right now.
Shit. Oh,
It's
yeah.
Horus rules in, like, the weirdest, wildest ways.
They are. I'm
I
like
am-
trying to, like, I'm Ah, it's so cool.
Oh, I'm definitely glad we have a week to think about this.
For sure.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for this, man.
Well, this is like talking with my other group. Like it was brought up that like so what like why start with the Everest when the cool stuff shit happens at license level 2? And I think the answer is because like the Everest is a good mech and it's really good training wheels to get you familiar with the system before you start doing the weird math in your head of like, all right, now how do I make my really broken roguelite build using one of these other mechs?
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It's like a perfect way to describe it. Like, it just feels like you're doing like a roguelike build. It's like, okay, well, if I can, except instead of just like, man, I didn't get the item I want, it's like, I get to pick all the freaking items and it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, Horus does not have all the fun. If like Pat, for example, if you want to know which mech is the healer, that's the Lancaster. Also, yes, the Lancaster is just the Boston Dynamics dog, but bigger.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And also you may be wondering like, wow, boy, wouldn't it be funny if you could ride that? Well, guess what? With Mule Harness, you can.
Ooh.
Adjacent, non-immobilized characters can climb onto your mech as a quick action. While riding, they occupy the same space as you, move when you move, even if they're slowed, and benefit from soft cover.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So, I've got a question. So, whenever
Yes.
I'm looking at these things, we automatically are just starting with our license level 1 stuff.
That is correct. So starting next, so yeah, your homework as players in the one shot is to next Friday come prepared with a mech built for combat, which can use any systems and weapons that you unlock with in rank 1 of a different mech. You are licensed level 1. You have that license to spend on rank 1 of any of these mechs as you see fit.
Dope.
Awesome.
And yeah, once again, once you unlock a license in something, you just have that stuff now. The only question is, do you have the space in your mech to field it?
Got it. By the way, for leveling up with the skills, I saw that we can either make one of our already skills at +2, +4, or are you cool with us grabbing like a 5th skill too?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. I'm
You
thinking
can-
about taking hack or fix.
It'd be a good pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you can for your level up, you can either put more points into one of your skills or choose a wholly different one. And here's the other thing. So you will have, again, we'll have a tutorial, kind of a combat tutorial next week, and then the week. So, what date is that? On the 7th, we'll do a combat. On the 14th, we will launch into the action proper, and we will basically be squeezing a one shot into 3 sessions. But after the 7th, you will level up again, and if you decide once again after next session that like, all right, I tried this license out, I don't really love it a lot. When you level up, you may also reallocate all ranks from one of your license into any other license. So, yeah, talents, you can swap one talent for another on level up. Licenses, you can swap all your licenses in one allocation to another on level up. So, talents and licenses are not written in stone.
Cool.
Also, yes, Silmarian has pointed out, he is, in fact, in this Discord server that we are in. I mean, at least 2 of you, I think, played in a game with him. So, yeah. Feel free at any point to ask questions about this stuff.
Good.
Let's see.
Cool.
Awesome.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm reading out loud.
Yeah, so I got nothing going on for the rest of the night. So at this point, if you would like to, it is about 11 o'clock Eastern, so if you would like to hop off, you may do so. Otherwise, if you'd like to just hang out and talk mechs, I'm not going anywhere.
I should probably get some food. But
That's
I already
fair.
leveled up. I fell in love with the metal mark. I don't need to think longer about it.
Awesome.
Figured it all out.
I am genuinely looking forward to seeing Metal Mark Rank 1 in action.
Heck yeah.
I'm still.
Brace to
I'm
become
still,
visible to the end of Eric's turn. Awesome.
Yep, that's what I put on it.
I'm still like I'm stuck between like Tokugawa and Manticore because they're obviously. Although the other thing is, I could also just go like a completely different direction and then just like spam like overclock abilities. Like that's just a totally. Like I could just go in a totally different way. So like I'm like stuck between those three like different playstyles and just having these like really like. So I don't want to say solitaire, but like really like by myself like crazy like exploding turns, and then just like the next turn when I blow up, like I'm still going crazy, and then like to like use the last action to get behind cover.
Oh, yeah, Tokugawa with if you're really going hard on Nuclear Cavalier, Tokugawa would be pretty wild for you.
Yeah. So what does exposed mean?
So exposed is a status that means that is one of the. There are several things that can grant that status, but the primary one is it's one of the things that can happen when you overheat. Exposed means you take double damage from everything. It is basically your mech is so hot that it is like practically the armor is practically melting off of it. All of your heat vents, all of your cooling vents are wide open. Like it's very easy to hit a weak point on. So any damage you take, kinetic, energy, or explosive, is doubled. I love that the Tokugawa has a thing that makes it so it's like, I'm exposed. Good. I'm more dangerous than ever.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like that's just like asking to like get my mech blown the fuck up though.
Yeah, but also it does have when the Tokugawa is in danger zone and attacks with a weapon that deals any amount of energy, all bonus damage becomes burn. The way burn works is when burn is applied, it immediately deals damage and latches onto the mech as burn. Then when that mech takes its turn, at the end of its turn, it must make and pass an engineering save. If it fails, it keeps the burn and takes that damage again.
Oh.
So yeah, burn is you slap damage on right now and also potentially deal damage over time. Oh my, okay, sorry. I've not looked closely at the Tokugawa before. I just noticed, yes, for your passive, if you provided you take this at the start of your turn, you could just make your mech exposed until the end of your next turn.
Yeah, like
that's wild.
Yeah, I know, it's like super crazy. So I'm kind of thinking of like, do a go in just like almost like a burst damage build where you go in, do crazy damage, get out, and then maybe do some sort of like repair or like restabilize and stuff, and then go back in, and then just like that could be like a really fun play style. Like you just really blow up for maybe an insane amount of damage and just leave.
It does also cost 4 system points, but at Tokugawa 2, you can also take the Deep Well Heat Sink, which is when you start your turn in Danger Zone, you gain resistance to heat for the rest of the turn. So you can get into that point where Nuclear Cavalier like really procs for you, and then also make it hard to accidentally overheat yourself past the cap.
That would be real. Yeah, and if I like go super hard in engineering, because it has a pretty heavy. I think I'm like loving this. Plus, I've got 4 arms.
Yeah, Tokugawa. I'm really getting the impression looking through these again. I've like a lot of my experience has been with Harrison, IPSN, and some SSC mechs. Horus, IPSN, and some SSC mechs. I haven't really looked closely at Harrison Armories before, and I'm getting the impression that a lot of these are mechs that run hot.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you can also a choice you can make is to put a point into the Genghis, which gives you explosive vents. When you clear all heat or take stress, your mech's cooling vents open and unleash a burst 1 explosion. Characters within the affected area take 2 heat and 2 burn. Genghis is literally the Harrison Armory's Genghis. It is literally the flamethrower mech.
Alright, let me... Gang.
I'm just realizing if I want to go the Swallowtail route, I could do another level in Spotter, where if I don't move, I turn invisible becomes invisible if it hasn't moved that turn. And that also means I could do, if I do a lock-on as a quick tech, or lock-on quick tech, I could also do another lock-on as a free action, and then just figure out information about the enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, crazy.
So wait, I have a quick question. So whenever
Yes.
I get a license point, you put it in a mech.
That is correct. So next Friday, you will all have rank 1 in a mech of your choice, and you will have access to all the weapons and systems from rank 1 of that mech. And once you take that additional license in CompCon,
Oh.
when you go to the mech hangar, those new systems and weapons will be part of what's sitting there available for you.
So so let's just say like my first license level, I put it into the Tokugawa. Then the next one I could put the next one into the Genghis. I could still use the Tokugawa, but I could use systems from the Genghis for.
Yes. If you took a license, if after next session you took a license in Tokugawa and a license in Genghis, you would still be locked into using the GMS Everest, but you would have all the systems and weapons from rank 1 of both of those licenses.
Ah. Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Which is something you can do. My personal opinion of the Everest is it is less good at doing specific things than any of the other mechs, but it's also fine by itself.
Okay, so you can only get a frame if you get 2 points in it.
Correct.
So the next question I have is after putting 2 points in it, and apologies if you explained this already.
No, go ahead.
If I put 2 points in it, let me go back to the Toku.
Also, yes, I should probably have explained what lock-on does. So there is a tech action you can take called scan, which does give you information. Actually, I should check if Spotter does this, but what a lock-on does is it imparts the condition locked on to a mech. Anyone attacking that mech can then choose to consume the lock-on, which gives them an additional accuracy.
Okay. So I think it might actually do that, though. I'm trying to read this.
Yeah, let me take a look at Spotter.
Yeah, it's Spotter
So,
2.
At the end of your turn, so Panopticon. At the end of your turn, if you did not move and took the lock-on quick tech action, you may lock on once as a free action. Additionally, when you lock on, when you lock on, you learn your target's armor, speed, evasion, e-defense, mech skills, and current HP, and can share this information with allies. So that does have some good, that does have some good synergy with the Spotter, with the Swallowtail's systems.
Yeah, you're good. The Minotaur is really interesting, but I'm also just kind of looking at the Swallowtail and being like, this just sounds super sick if I combine it with Spotter.
Yeah. Also, in chat, Silmarian does have a point. Here's the thing: free lock on is also pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's also good.
Yeah, because then I could just let me ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
A lock on can only happen if they're within sensors range, right?
That is correct, and I believe the ruling for any. Well, I believe the rule for all tech actions is you have to be within sensor range, and have line of sight on them. So you do have to have line of sight. But yeah, if you can see them and they're within sensors, you can just say, "All right, you're locked on."
Wasn't Swallowtail the one with 20 sensor range?
It sure is.
Okay.
It sure is.
Hey, what's going on over there? Let me just find out real quick.
Yeah, that mech, there is very little that mech cannot see.
Yeah, I'm still interested in Minotaur because this is just kind of like really silly and really fun, but now I'm just thinking of Swallowtail and being like, I could literally just give two a +1 accuracy against 2 enemies on my turn and be like, hey guys, y'all can do that. Y'all got this.
Minotaur seems great for if you just decide you want a microwave. You say fuck this mech and this mech in particular, you go in the microwave.
Fuck trying to be. I'm also trying to imagine like a stealthy Minotaur and then just like kind of hiding on my turn in plain sight, and then just appearing and being like, nah, you're done.
I don't know how much the Minotaur has been retuned since that homebrew campaign that we did, but again, veteran Minotaur pilot Glueface in the chat can tell you how many battles he spent just sitting in the back of the field, being like, all right, my sensors are big, I'm not going to move. You get heat. You also get heat. which was real great for, which one did that? Which was real great when they took Minotaur 3 and got Law of, no, it was not Law of Blades. Which one was it? Aggressive System Sinker. We're just like, alright, I am going to sit on the other side of the battlefield. You must take 2 heat anytime you are further than range 3 from me. Oh, what's that? You're on the other side of the battlefield from me? Unfortunate for you.
And a charge to give yourself the next range or melee attack. Bonus damage on hit.
Maybe you should consider not being far away from me.
Man, like I just want to like. Oh wait, do all of the tier 3? Okay, no. Yes. Wait, did they all do all of the tier 3 or license 3? At least I'm seeing the Harrison Armory ones. But do all of them gain like a level 3 like an NHP? All the Harrison ones do.
They might. This would be very in keeping because flavor-wise, one John Harrison, I forget if it was John Harrison the second or third, because Harrison Armory is literally run by clones of John Harrison, did in fact try to violate the First Contact protocols at one point and build their own version of the 5 voices, which was, in the language I like to use, turbo illegal. This was followed shortly by a visit from Deimos over the planet of Ras Sharma, the headquarters of Harrison Armory. I don't know if this is canon, but I think the way it was discussed in the Lancer Discord was like, Ra showed up and said, stop that. The Armory sent a strike team to infiltrate the moon of Deimos and take out Ra. Ra sent the strike team back in the form of a 20-foot by 20-foot cube.
That's fun.
Yeah, so yes, Harrison, like, that is kind of the flavor of Harrison Armories, is like they are pushing the cutting-edge technologies. The Saladin uses hard light technology, which is what the Onic mechs use. No one knows how it works except the Armories, and all the Armory has been able to do with it is use it to make it basically a bubble shield, but the Saladin can project a bubble shield around it now, so that's cool.
Someone in the chat earlier described Harrison Armory as the war crimes manufacturer, I believe.
If there is a manufacturer, if there is a big 4 that manufactures war crimes, it is Harrison Armory. They are historically the most imperialist of all the Corpro states. So let's see, who does get an NHP? Oh, wow. The Genghis gets an NHP at rank 3.
Yeah.
The Napoleon doesn't. The Saladin does get an NHP at rank 3. The Sherman gets an NHP at rank 3. I think those are the only ones that get an NHP, but that's a lot of NHPs.
The Tokugawa also gets one as well. It gets the Lucifer class NHP. Crazy.
Yeah, I think the big 4 minus Horus, because they're kind of a weird outlier that no one understands. So the big 3, if you will, they are all Corpro states from an earlier time in Union's existence, earlier being before a revolution 500 years in the past. Their continued existence is kind of a deal with the devil that Union has made of like, well, we do depend on them to exist and maintain infrastructure and materials and what have you. And the best thing we can do, short of declaring war on the Armory and getting a lot of people killed, is try to keep them under control. And yeah, I think they run the gamut from neoliberal to full-on 80s capitalist cocaine fuel, or sorry, 80s cocaine-fueled capitalism to all-out clone army imperialism.
Dude, I'm like... And then
Horus is just weird. No one knows how they work.
Yeah, Horus is like weird theology, but not really.
Horus are, in fact, canonically, a bunch of forum shit posters as well. Horus is like, what if you had mechs that all had a bit of a weird techno-mysticism to them, and also all their pilots were extremely online?
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's
oh no.
It's
that kind of. Oh no.
There are in CompCon, there in the options there are different flavors of that you can put onto CompCon. There are different shells that you can use, and one of those is Horus themed. And the Horus themed one on the right side of the screen on the homepage just has a chat room with procedurally generated chat messages in it.
No.
And
It makes like an ASCII Horus logo thing too.
Yeah, there's people getting banned for asking for Pegasus feet pics.
Oh no.
Oh no!
Is it really? That's great, actually.
That one's somewhere in there, I think. Also, yeah, so I'll throw this out there. People in chat are talking about licenses that are part of the Long Rim expansion. So here's what I had in mind for the one-shot, basically, is starting on it will start out on a space station, kind of out on the rim, far from the core worlds. And it will take place in, the action will happen in space. You will basically be moving from one ship to another at one point. So the Long Rim is the expansion that kind of covers this. If you want to, build space stations and pirate companies out on the rim of the galaxy, far away from the metropolises of the core worlds, that's where you go to. I do want to say that the Long Rim mechs are on the table. I didn't necessarily want to bring it up right away because you can import the Long Rim mechs into CompCon. That does require you to import a content pack into it. But also just because I felt like a lot to dive into at once. If you take a look at the Long Rim, or if you would like to take a look at the Long Rim, let me know. And those mechs are on the table if you want. They behave exactly the same. At rank 2, you get the frame itself. Every rank has new stuff you can put into it. But you get wild stuff. Horus's Long Rim mech is the Lich. That's the weird time one. It also gets the Kobold, which uses the Kobold comes out of a literal laborers' revolutionary movement out of the Karrakin trade baronies, and is like a mining rig retrofitted to be a combat mech. It is also one of the few mechs that is so small as basically power armor. Harrison Armories gets the Sunzi. I don't know much about the Sunzi, actually. I know the Sunzi is really weird and also has 4 arms. It looks really cool. Smith Shimano's Long Rim mech is the Atlas, which is, hey, do you like Monster Hunter? Do you want a Monster Hunter mech? Do you literally want a mech that was built as dueling armor for the Karrakin trade baronies, but then the Spari got a hold of it and decided, yeah, we're going to use this to hunt megafauna? Then the Atlas is for you. If you like grappling hooks and wall running, the Atlas is for you. The IPSN gets some wild ones. IPSN gets the Zeng, which is, flavor-wise, that is like someone... A ship was shot down by pirates and crashed on a planet, and the one surviving mech pilot on it had to hold out, waiting for help, with nothing but a, modified Raleigh, which was modified to have... Do you want a big pile bunker on your mech? Do you want a giant power fist? That's the Zeng. The Zeng excels at one thing, and it is kicking your ass with its 2 bare hands. And then there's the Caliban. The Caliban is boarding armor. IPSN advertises the Caliban as, it says, it is a tool designed to kill human beings very, very quickly. It is advertised as a precision tool of violence used for ship-to-ship action. This is true if you consider precision violence to mean you throw this thing into a ship and it bounces around it like a pinball in a tin can until everything inside is dead except the person inside the Caliban. The Caliban has a shotgun. It's at rank 3. You actually, hold on, I need to check. No, sorry, this is not rank 3. This is the no, maybe it is rank 3 actually. Ah, yes. Rank 3 of the Caliban gets the Cannibal shotgun. Yes, Cannibal is the rip and tear mech even more than most of IPSN mechs are. The Cannibal shotgun is literally so goddamn big that when you reload it, it deals damage to mechs nearby.
Holy shit. Alright. That's wild.
Yeah,
I love how wild the mechs all get. That's so...
Yeah. This was this is the thing that really drew me to this, and that also I've heard multiple people say I was really happy to learn this getting into it, that it's not quite like Battletech, where it's alright, which flavor of big, slow-moving beat stick do you want? It's no, each mech is weird in its own way, and they all interact with each other and with the talents in, very specific and very different ways.
Yeah, I was definitely. Yeah, that was something I was definitely more expecting. Was like something a lot like yeah, more just like okay, here's your big robot. Now move along. But like it like or like your big robot is just basically a person and a way to indicate like hey, now you're fighting, now you're not.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's definitely so much more than that. Like it's just like I love the way you put that earlier. It's some crazy roguelike mechanics.
Yeah.
Where it's just, like, or you can just go like whenever like I saw you talking about like just like go crazy with the builds, and I'm like, bro, I don't even know what this means. Like I'm just gonna have a gun, I'm gonna have a sword, and I'm gonna call it a day. And
Yeah, I mean, listen, right now you do have a gun and a sword, but soon you'll have a really weird mech to put that gun and sword on.
And then and I'm just gonna like totally like I mean like I don't want to like have some crazy almost hit and run style game where I'm like where I'm like I mean if it works where it just goes for like it'll explode for like 3 turns with the damage over 1 or 2 turns, but then it's just like oh shit, I am so ready to die, I need to go.
Yeah, like it's wild. Like I can see exactly why you are gravitating towards the Tokugawa, because like, oh, this build is just for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm like, damn, it's so cool. Oh my gosh! And then the other thing, which I'm sure everyone is absolutely crazy about, is just the art is so cool in this game.
Well, again, they got a lot of great artists to do art for the game, including like James Stocco, Orahak.
One guy I was following who was posting art for this. I'm like,
why can't I remember this guy's name? Cosmo Galuzzi did one piece of art for this. What is the artist whose name I am blanking on who did several pieces of art for this? Connor Fawcett, yes, that's who I was trying to think of. But also notably, all of the primary mech art, so all the art that appears next to the mech frames in CompCon and in the book, again, that is all drawn by the Kill 6 Billion Demons guy.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a extremely metal webcomic about the thing that gets thrown around as a tagline a lot for Kill 6 Billion Demons is reach heaven through violence.
That's nuts.
Would you like to literally throw yourself into a war between demiurges? Great. Yeah, Tom Parkins and Morgan also did a lot of the flavor writing for Horus, which is just like, yeah, him extremely on his weird metaphysical bullshit in like the best way. Also, yes, thank you. Lance Leohani in chat has pointed out, yes, if you do want the big lumbering beatstick, there is the Barbarossa. The Barbarossa, aka Barbie's Dream House, is large. It is, I believe, the only size 3 mech in the player catalog. It has a movement of 2. It has a speed of 2. It is very slow. It has an E defense of 6. It is very bad at not getting hacked. It has an evasion of 6. It's very easy to hit. But it does have an artillery cannon mounted to it called an Apocalypse Rail. And yes, it also does have a lunchbox. It has an armor. It has an ammo case full of snacks.
Nom 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 nom.
Yeah. Its core ability is the Apocalypse Rail. The Apocalypse Rail must be charged before it can be fired using the charge rail core power. Weapon has different profiles. They be determined by the current value of the Apocalypse die when you fire it. Apocalypse die, Jesus.
And the other thing I'm looking at on this thing is the autoloader drone. Looks super like.
Yeah, that's
super good.
That is pretty handy.
I was looking at. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you first.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I'm still struggling to decide between Swallowtail and Minotaur, but I saw for Swallowtail, one of the abilities with License 1 is Marker Light, where if I succeed on a tech attack, they take 2 heat, they're locked on, and cannot benefit from soft cover until the lock-on is cleared. But more importantly, if one of you all hit them while this is going on, I can just spend my reaction and say, yeah, that's a crit.
Yes, I am. From the GM side of things, I am intimately familiar with Marker Light, and you can do some. Yeah, you can. again,
Oh,
like
no.
it is what, like, actually having GM'd a lot of Lancer with some folks now, like, I also have come to appreciate how different even just some of the mechs and their roles are. Like, again, there are a lot of mechs that are classified as controller, but, you know, the Minotaur is, I set the rules of the battlefield. If you disobey those, you take heat. The Goblin is, I'm a horrible little monkey, and I tell you where to go. I shove you around the battlefield with hacking. The Swallowtail is like, alright, I have a lot of tech systems, I'm hard to hit, and I basically get to declare that everyone else's job is easier.
This guy looks so... Yeah, and then, like, I also really like that, where it's like, if you had some sort of AI on it, then, like, what the guy's doing in the picture there for the Swallowtail, where you can just, like...
Just kind of do stuff outside of it, too.
Yeah, and just be like, alright, that's a crit. Like, while you're out, like, sniping or something, or, like, picking something up. Like...
I'm gonna have to sleep on this whole thing, because I think the Swallowtail is... I think both of these two are really sick. I think the Swallowtail fits technically with the smuggler theme I was thinking of a lot better. But I'm also just imagining the big Minotaur robot kind of running around hiding and then being like, yeah, you take heat, hide again. Like, just something about that just amuses me to no end as well.
Yeah. Chad is also pointing out something useful, which is that some mechs will confer reactions. You may only take one reaction per turn, but you may take as many reactions as you want per round, so long as you only take one of each. So, real quick breakdown, like the turn order in combat is, there are rounds of combat where it goes player NPC, player NPC, player NPC until everyone's gone, then it rolls over. That is one round. There are reactions that you can take when it is not your turn and some condition is met. The basic one is Overwatch, which is if you have a weapon that has threat on it, which, like, all melee weapons have their range described as threat. I think some ranged weapons are given threat. Because basically, if someone starts a movement within threat, you may use the Overwatch reaction against them, and that just means I get to smack you because you started a movement close to me, so I'm going to take an attack of opportunity. But there are frames that will give you, like, tech attack reactions that are... I'm going to go look at the Gorgon now because apparently the Gorgon has some wild ones. Yeah, just like, provided that you have stuff that you can do, provided you can trigger something, then you can take that action, so long as you haven't taken a reaction this turn. Ah, good. The Gorgon has Gaze. The Gorgon can take 2 reactions per turn instead of 1. Wild.
Man, that's so cool.
Yeah,
Lancer, I know, right?
Lancer feels a bit like it sets up interesting rules to play in, and then gives you very fun ways to break those rules.
So I've got a question. If I get a license for Harrison, does that mean I'm locked in? I can only pick from Harrison Max, or can I, like, I also want a level tier 1 from these, a license level 1 from this SSC mech. Like, am I tied down to Harrison once I pick Harrison?
Nope. The manufacturer is just there for flavor. The mech manufacturers just describe what kind of paradigms all their mechs fall into. You are not locked into that. The only time that matters is once you... And it is not going to matter for this one shot because we are not going to reach license level 3. But once you reach license level... Every 3 license levels, so first at 3, then at 6, then at 9, up to the level cap, which I believe is 12. Every 3 licenses, you get to take a core bonus from one of the manufacturers. You must have 3 licenses, 3 license ranks in that manufacturer to take the core bonus. If you don't have that, then you can still take a GMS core bonus. But again, that will not actually matter in this one shot because we will not reach... Well, reaching license level 3 will be the end of the campaign.
Okay.
But so outside of that, no, you're like, that is, even then, that is not mandatory. You are not required. So you could take a license level in Tokugawa and a license level in Pegasus if you're feeling really buck wild. Yeah, you are not in any way required to stick to one manufacturer. Man, I can already see myself really liking this game.
I'm
It's-
I'm
yeah.
already low key kind of pissed that it's gonna end at some point. I'm like, oh.
Well, hey, consider this a little aperitif, and I don't know, talk to your friends who are interested in Lancer in the future, and see who among them might be interested in playing. Listen. I described myself earlier today as a forever GM by choice to a couple people, which is just like, listen, I have a bunch of tabletop RPGs, and I really want to play them, and the best way I can think of to do that is to be like, hey, if you want to play this game, I'll GM it. Which is also why we are all gathered here tonight.
Yeah.
Which, thank you again for doing this, by the way.
Yeah, for
Absolutely,
sure.
yeah. So I think now is a good time to see you to T-Jabs. T-Jabs has hopped off to grab some food, which is understandable. It is getting later there Pacific time, but yeah, I think so. Your homework tonight will be to decide which first rank you want to take for next Friday's session. Next Friday, we will launch straight into the action and get like a little demo combat in, and by the end of that, you will have another license level to spend and be ready to take your first new frame, should you choose to.
So should we like go ahead and click the level up button on CompCon?
Yes, and that will again just walk you through applying all the points to the right places.
Yeah, I've already done that, and it was nice to have it guided like that.
Yeah,
It
this
is.
is like super like. I wish every RPG had something where like it helped you out like this.
It is wild, but like, yes, I am. If you have some money you want to throw at the CompCon Patreon, there's a link somewhere on the website to it. If you want to check it out, if you want to check it out CompCon yourself, it's a fun way to just like play around. I put a link in the chat, but it's a fun way to play around with builds and stuff. You just want to be like, all right, what the hell is this thing about? Tell me about these mechs. Website. It's really good. If you decide you would like to throw a couple bucks the creator's way, that's also pretty cool. So yeah, if you have any questions over the next week, reach out to me over Discord. I believe one or two other people in the chat who are also in this Discord that we are in now have said like, hey, if you have questions, reach out. You got any questions about mechs or licenses or rules? Feel free to ask them. If you decide you might want to take the plunge and check out the long run mechs, let me know and I'll show you how to get that set up. But otherwise, I think we will reconvene at the same time next week. So thank you all for hopping on tonight. Thank you all in the chat for coming and hanging out. Next week there'll be a little action. Because I usually do this at the end of streams. Does anyone have anything they like want to plug before we go?
I don't
I
have
do
anything. Oh yeah, actually I do. So, for the fighting game people, we're starting up Under Night Locals again, online. They're sort of on Monday nights at 7 EST. We're thinking of doing, any city that's about a 2-hour drive from Louisville, because we all know how much we love Under Night's connections. So we're keeping the range pretty small. So it's I don't know if it encompasses Columbus, but like Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Lexington, anything within a 1-hour radius or 1 to 2 hour radius is sort of fair game. Hit me up on Discord at Baloney Shinobi, Twitter at Baloney Shinobi if you want to play. So because we've had a blast. We tried it with just me and someone else, and then we expanded it to a local server, which was just Louisville. We had an insanely good time. So if you miss Under Night and you're in that area, hit me up.
All right. Well, cool. Well, as always, everyone stay safe, wear a mask, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Oh wait, actually, for our Everest, can we put some of our level 1 specs on it?
Yes, and you absolutely should. For next week, you will have that license level 1. Everything you get from that license level, you can slap on that for that combat.
Hell yeah.
All right. Looking forward to it. Good night, everyone.
Good night.